Hey guys, welcome to this week's Gidlow Movie Show. It's
2 weeks,
the Gidlow
2
Movie
weeks
Show.
in a row.
2 weeks in a row. I think we're not breaking a record yet. I don't think. Were we consistent when we were posting it last
I think
time?
the first one was a week. The second one was 2 weeks after the first one, I think.
Okay.
So,
well,
yeah.
Anyway, I'm Thomas Gidlow, and I'm joined with Daniel Gidlow.
You're Daniel. I'm Thomas. Let's
No.
get this straight first and foremost.
Let's play the dubstep music. That's not dubstep. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, so we had a lot of comments. Well, not a lot of comments, but a few comments, and they were relatively negative about the dubstep.
Yes.
It's just music. Like, I understand a lot of people use dubstep, but this was that track specifically was something that was created by I think DJ Pirate YouTube, I think was his handle, but he had done it for me to dance to a long time ago, and it was like that was just the very end of it. Because otherwise it was like a remix of me saying, thank you for 200,000 subscribers. It was like an old ass video I did. So that was I've been wanting to use that forever, and I like it. And hate dubstep.
We should do country music this time. Let's do some country.
No, I'm not
Can
doing
we do
that.
some twang?
You're listening to the Thomas.
Well, if there's anybody out there that wants to do an intro for us, then
that's true.
Maybe
well, I was thinking about, like, I know a few people who should be able to do an intro up, but I like that one currently. I'm sure we'll get a more personalized, specific
it's
intro.
all in your hands. It's in your hands.
Yes, sir.
Do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do. Oh, what was it? What's the Wilford Brimley?
Do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah. Listen up.
Be thankful
all
you're
of you.
in no worse shape than you are.
Oh, Wilford Brimley.
When's he going to be in a movie again?
I was about to say the exact same thing. Let me look
I
at
miss
his
old Wilford.
Wilford Brimley. I mean, he had a great introduction. I don't know if it was really his introduction in what's his name in The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. He was obviously in Cocoon and The Firm. He is actually in a movie, Thomas, called Cellophane, where he plays Sherman Supple.
Oh wow!
It's in pre-production. It comes out in 2014.
Oh, he's in a new one. Okay,
He's the only listed actor in it, though.
well, good. I'm glad to see him back in it.
And it's directed by, get this, Decker.
Decker.
Yeah, it's just
Decker. Decker. Star Hour. Decker.
What?
From Star Trek fame.
Oh yes, Decker. Yeah. Oh, that was a really obscure reference.
Yes.
I don't even know.
A single Star Hour in 1.5 years. 2.5 years.
2.5 years, not 1.5 years. I don't even know who the hell Decker is.
Oh,
it's like,
that's the guy's name?
Yeah,
I thought it
his
was the
name's
guy
like-
that played Decker.
It's no. It's just the director's name is Decker. There's an editor in Hollywood. His name is Baxter.
Really?
It's just Baxter, and he's edited a few movies. Every once in a while, when his name pops up, I'm just like, ew, Baxter, because he edited like the first what's it called? Piranha's movie. Not the first Piranha's movie, but the more recent one, the Piranha 3D one.
Well, if it's not Sharknado, then I have no interest in watching it.
Exactly. I don't think anybody has interest in anything outside of Sharknado.
Well, no, the sequel's supposed to be, I think it's Hurricane-nado or Sharkicane or something like that.
Sharkicane.
Titanicane. That was the one I wanted to see. I wanted to see Titanicane, where a hurricane comes and sweeps up the Titanic and the sharks at the same time, and then it's unleashed on the eastern seaboard, like parts of the Titanic, and Rose comes back, or Jack comes back, and yeah. I mean, it's as bad as the original Sharknado, so why not just go for it?
Hey, why not? Yeah. Why not? Anyway, so welcome to the show. That was a very tangent-y, weird intro. There was something I wanted to talk about.
What's on tap, sir? What do we have on tap?
In general, I wanted to bring up the fact that this was kind of a relatively slow news week regarding movies for the most part. I know in our 3-episode run before, we had, exciting news like JJ. We had news that made us record before we were even supposed to record, because for our Star Wars thing, we recorded that 20-minute long segment and then integrated it into, that week's episode. We recorded just that because we couldn't wait to talk about it.
Right.
So, I mean, this was a really kind of slow, for the most part, news week. We have a review for later down the show that'll be probably hilarious.
Oh, yes.
Unlike the movie we watched, which was a comedy. And so, yeah, okay, so news-wise, let's start off with Bruce Willis reteaming with M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong for a movie called Labor of Love.
Well, apparently, now, I didn't read this story, but I saw the little blurb. And apparently this is one of his first scripts, so supposedly, I guess that's put in there to make it seem like it's going to be good.
Yeah, this was his first professional screenplay that was bought by 20th Century Fox in 1993. And apparently he's currently in the process of getting the rights back so he can make the movie. But I don't know if it says he's in the process of reacquiring the rights, but it says like production is slated to begin in September. So how can you actually have a production starting to roll before you even have the rights for something? I guess it's going to be something relatively easy to do.
No idea. Well, but I'm sure he'll find a way to screw it up somehow.
Well, I mean, so the two movies he's done with Bruce Willis has been The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable. I love both of those movies. Really like. Unbreakable, I think, got a relatively. I don't know if it got a bad rap, but like, I think it's probably the least known of his movies, outside of. No, that's pretty much it.
I would say so. Yeah.
Because like it's one that was like under the radar, but it's really like it fits him perfectly because it was like this really. I mean, like M. Night Shyamalan does, he has that slow ass like build up to everything in his movies, but he has like that's generally his style is like long shots, a lot of build up, and then generally a good generally twist ending. Unbreakable had a good twist ending. Sixth Sense had a good twist ending.
Then it was all downhill from there.
Pretty much. I think after The Village and Lady in the Water, they really kind of... I still haven't seen The Village, by the way. I know how it ends, but I still haven't seen it, so I can't really judge that movie. But I know Lady in the Water is a pretty terrible movie. That he actually tried... he glorifies himself in the movie as... Like, in the movie, he's in it way more than a cameo. And he also happens to play a writer who is going to write something very important. Like... it's so ego stroking, it's insane. And he also has a film critic in there who poo-poos on everything and then gets killed. So,
is that a little stab at
absolutely
poo-pooing his work? You think?
Yes, it was very unsubtly. So I mean that movie was just. Ugh. So I think his last movie was After Earth, which they completely did not put his name on any of the promotional material for that. So people didn't know going in it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. I did not see that, but I heard it was horrible. I heard it was absolutely terrible. So maybe we should do a review of that down the line.
Because we're 1 for 1 on reviewing horrible movies.
Yeah, there you go. That should be next week's movie. No.
Okay.
No.
I want something good while I eat dinner.
Yeah, while you eat. Ew.
We'll get to that.
Yes, we will. So this one, it's called Labor of Love. This one doesn't seem to be like horribly twisty. The synopsis is Bruce Willis will play a bookstore owner who tragically loses his wife and decides to walk across country to prove his love for her. So it seems more so like a romantic drama sort of thing. I guess she'll die and he'll be like, I love her, and then walk. Which, I mean, I don't know. As long as it doesn't show Bruce Willis like diving out of plate glass windows, from nukes or something like that, I think it should be fine. But I mean, that's probably in the pipes for a good day to die hard.
Bruce Willis, and as we've discussed last week, he is becoming more and more known for doing the cheapo, going the cheapo actiony black route. So
cheapo actiony route while he gets a nice paycheck.
Oh yeah, he's making bank.
Oh,
no doubt about that.
So what was your title again for the Die Hard movie?
Only the Good Die Hard.
Only the Good Die Hard. Yes. Exactly. I passed that by Seamus, by the way, who's our resident Die Hard fan in the office, and he actually really liked that title. He's like, it's a lot better than A Good Day to Die Hard. And
again, it was perfect.
Yes.
I felt it was perfect.
Well, one day you will make that movie, sir.
Like we said, the only way that's going to be made is if we reboot the
probably
or somehow get down the road where Bruce is 95 years old
and wanting to make actually something good. So
it might take that long to convince him.
Yeah. So that is that. More so on the news docket. Again, slow week. Forrest Whitaker apparently has been cast in the Olivier Megaton return-directed movie Taken 3.
Did he direct the first one?
No.
Yeah.
The first one, I believe, was... And actually might have been him. Because it wasn't...
Megaton? Is that really his last name?
Megaton.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. He's
That's
French.
amazing.
No, yeah, Pierre Morel directed the first one. Morel. He's the guy who directed, I think he directed a few of the Transporter movies. No, actually, he didn't.
Get your stuff straight, sir.
I think, I guess, he produced. Taken, I guess, was his first big movie. And then he did From Paris with Love, which I think relatively bombed.
Yeah.
So
I remember, the first one was good. I liked the first one.
the first one was so good.
Yeah, I haven't seen the first one in so long. And then I think I went and saw the second one in theaters. No, I did, yeah. And I don't know if it was... I don't think it was with you. I think that was after you had already...
Yeah, that was at the Creature House, so...
Yeah. That was the one with the ending just was... Yeah, the end was just so bad. It was the worst.
The entire movie wasn't that good. The entire movie wasn't that good. So the guy, Olivier Megaton, or maybe it's Megaton. I don't know. He's probably French. He directed the third Transporter movie. And then Taken 2, and he's returning for Taken 3. Do you know how much Liam Neeson is getting paid for?
A lot
for returning. Just give me a guess of what you think he was offered for a third movie.
He's not. I don't think he's getting Robert Downey Jr. money or Tom Cruise money. So I would say probably $15 million,
20 million.
Yeah, 15 to 20.
$20 million.
Pretty up there, yeah.
That's
well. I mean, he's the only reason the movies exist.
Oh,
to
exactly.
This point. I mean, what other reason would you? I mean, there's no other reason to watch the movie at all. I mean, Liam Neeson's such a good actor.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people would, forgive the terrible plot and horrible film and go watch him. And so, I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Well, yeah, Taken was definitely the turn for his career, where it became he actually became an action star for the most part, because he didn't have these kind of roles leading up to then. He had Dark Man in the 90s and stuff like that, but nothing major action star. And then Taken just was this sleeper hit. It was this kind of small film that just exploded, absolutely exploded in America. And turned this kind of lower budget kind of indie movie into a big action franchise.
That's what the thing I never get about sequels, especially the smaller ones. Those are the reasons why they're successful. Why do they feel like they have to blow up the budget and blow up the story and blow up this and blow up that?
Yeah.
You were successful because of the way you did the first one. Well, why don't you try to replicate that as opposed to just,
One of the problems was they tried to replicate it too much, because it was
not
the same
the film
plot
itself, the way you made it, not huge budget, keep low key, that kind of thing, and don't, make the story just horrendous. And,
yeah, I don't know.
Forrest Whitaker anyway is he's a good actor, I guess, but I don't really know. Is he supposed to be the bad guy, or is he?
I don't. It just says he signed on to be in it.
Well,
you know what I imagined when I saw that was I kind of imagined the dynamic they had in the third Die Hard movie, where it was Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis. I assumed he was going to be maybe a companion or something like that to Liam Neeson's character. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to play the bad guy or not.
Yeah, I would think.
But Luc Besson is writing it again. He wrote the second one as well, I believe. He's returning to write. Poor Luc Besson. He was such a,
I know. I want to feel bad for him in one sense, but in the other sense,
he's making bank though.
Oh, I know he is, and I'm sure he's making tons of money and stuff like that. But it's just good stuff. Why can't anybody? They make one good movie or a couple of good movies or whatever, and then it's just they get the money, and then it's just well, I guess I don't really have to, try that hard.
Well, I mean,
I can just regurgitate every other plot that's ever been done and make the same amount of money, so why try?
Well, I mean, he's produced 117 different titles. He's produced a lot. He has. I mean, apparently he's directed a lot, but La Femme Nikita, The Professional, Fifth Element, The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc with wasn't that what's her name?
The girl.
Mila Jovovich.
I don't know, maybe.
Well,
if it's not Tim Burton, then probably.
No,
not.
This might not.
No,
have been
that's
that
the other
movie.
girl. I'm thinking of the other girl. No,
Oh,
she's actually working in. She's doing a movie now with her husband, I think.
Oh, that's a different movie I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
No, it is. It is Mila Jovovich. Anyway, what were you saying?
I don't recall. What were we talking about before we started going into tangents?
Joan of Arc.
No, Luc Besson. Yeah,
Yeah, Luc Besson.
Well, it might be a situation too, like we were talking about J.J. Abrams and how he produces all this stuff, but. Again, some of this stuff is just him putting his name on it, so I'm sure there's a lot of that going on.
Certainly, but he's also written 55. He has 55 writing credits. Like generally, when he produces, he has some take on the story. He usually has some input, seemingly. So I don't know, but
well, he's carved out a niche. There's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the kind of B action movie is general. His general thing, but I'm looking at pictures of him from like a while ago. He just looks like he looks like a dwarf from Lord of the Rings.
He's a short guy. I don't know that I've ever seen.
He's short and stubby. Like I mean, well, I don't know if he's short, but he's definitely stubby looking. Like look at that. It looks like he could be one of the. I'm linking pictures that people can't see, but
yeah, no, I had my. Oh wow, yeah, okay.
He's 5'8", so he is pretty short.
Well, he's my height.
You're 5'8"? Oh yeah, well I'm taller than you.
Ish.
Yeah, I'm taller than you. I forgot about that. That's
well,
weird.
That's a 13-year-old picture too. That's from Kiss of the Dragon, which was 2001. But
anyway,
okay. Yeah,
Luc Besson. So hopefully, I mean, Forrest Whitaker. He's a really great actor. He's a very good actor. But it could be like one of those.
Nothing.
Huh?
I said you're 5 foot nothing.
Yeah,
100 nothing.
But so Forrest Whitaker, he's a really great actor. But it's one of those cases where it's like. Gary Oldman's a very good actor, but he is in some absolutely shit movies.
Yeah.
And I don't understand his choosing process. So, Forrest Whitaker, good actor. He was also in Battlefield Earth. That's all I'm saying. So
yeah, and I don't necessarily blame actors. They're going to take work no matter what it is. Like I get that sort of thing. It's just like I understand that there's a market, obviously, for Taken 3, and I'm sure it'll be successful. They wouldn't be making Taken 3 if Taken 2 didn't do, decently well or whatever, however Taken 2 did.
Taken 2 did really well, but I think critically did not do as well.
Oh, no, critically, I'm sure it was horrible. But that's the thing. These people don't care about how critically, how these movies are critic. Like, the movie we're going to review, they didn't even give the movie to outside critics. The movie was not reviewed before it went to theaters.
Yeah.
So... they don't care whether or not, critics think it's good or not. They know they have an audience for it, and so, why go outside of that market? You're going to make a certain amount of money if you spend a certain amount of money, so
yeah,
why bother?
Yeah, I remember right after the gross came in, I think opening weekend, they announced that the producers were like, yep, we're doing Taken 3.
Yeah, they had a certain amount, yeah, of course, we're going to whore this out for all we can.
Yeah, so, that happens, and it's kind of sad, but at the same time, hopefully they'll learn from the second one, because the first one's good. I mean, the first one has some annoying elements to it as well. You have the whole, daughter wanting to be a singer kind of thing, and that was the only part of the movie that was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of stupid.
But, I mean, there's always going to be something. I mean, it's hard to make a 2-hour action film without reverting at some point here or there to the old cliche or to something that's, dribble and popcorn, whatever. Yeah. So fine and dandy. The whole second movie just collapsed for me because of the whole last... It was almost sort of like Jack Ryan, but like at least the first 90% of the movie was really, really good. So you can kind of forgive the ending. With Taken 2, it was like, God, why? I mean, anything would have been better than what they did at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and for some reason, and I don't know why, I went into Taken 2 really pumped, like really excited, and the action just was not in any way like the first one. The action had me going like, oh yeah, but Taken 2 had like it wasn't doing anything for me.
Mm-hmm. And the rooftop thing that was
like
horrible.
None of it was exciting. Like it wasn't exciting.
The grenades everywhere. I remember that.
Chucking grenades in the
I'm sure they killed like 800 innocent bystanders just walking down the street, and all of a sudden grenades are exploding all over the place.
That and like I understand like because they had like the whole the daughter driving around and the plot point at the beginning was the fact that she was learning to drive and she was horrible at it. And then in this extreme circumstance, she's driving around like a pro.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden she becomes, Mario Andretti and is just racing around the streets like she's done it 100 times.
Like, I didn't quite get that, like why that was a thing. But
well, I mean, if you just go back and think about the whole, why would she even go anywhere outside the country again after the first film? Like, why would you even think that's a good idea? Just especially like 2 years afterwards. I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere for like 20, 30 years. I just stay. Like, go visit like another state in the country or something. Why do you got to go overseas?
Yeah, that, and they completely didn't continue the whole singing thing at all. Like, I don't even think they mentioned it.
Yeah, they just dropped that. They said
that got dropped pretty hardcore. Anyway,
because that was his job, wasn't it? He was doing the whole security for her.
Yeah, he was the bodyguard for She-Ra.
Well, whatever.
That was the name of the artist, if you quote unquote. Anyway. Forrest Whitaker. We'll see how it works out.
Good actor. Hope he. I'm sure. I don't think the buddy thing is the way they'd go with that. I don't know. Maybe
either he's going to be the bad guy or he's buddy. I don't. Really
I would
know.
think the bad guy. I could see him being.
Supposedly, they're also going in a different direction story wise. So hopefully, it's not daughter being taken again or him.
Well, maybe it's what's her name getting taken.
Famke.
But
she was taken in the second one. It was him and her.
Yeah. Well.
And I thought they were going to kill her. Like, I would have actually liked for her to die.
No, I want to see her in more of them because she looks so good. She's still, she looks like she did 15 years ago.
She's in the Netflix produced series.
There's so many of those now. It's hard to...
Yeah, I know. It was like Hollow Grove or something like that. Grove. Hemlock Grove. Liz and I watched the first season of that, and that was actually a really good show, and she was really good in it. So, yeah, and like you said, she looks just as fantastic as she used to, like in the X-Men movies and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
And
Star Trek.
Star Trek 18 million years ago. It all devolves into Star Trek.
Everything is.
I mean, you could connect anything to Star Trek. You really could.
That's true.
I hope you guys like our Star Trek influenced Gidlow Movie Show logo.
Oh yes, I did see one comment that said that they lost us after we started going into Star Trek, but
it happens.
Get used to it. Learn to love it, as Ric Flair likes to say. Learn to love it. It
happens. There was a guy who has been doing some amazing fan art regarding like my Batman series and my Skyrim series.
I saw the Skyrim picture. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he was saying he drew that while listening to the Gidlow Movie Show.
Hey.
And on his channel, like I go to, he doesn't have like a Twitter, I don't think, but I went to his channel, and on his channel he has like. He's only posted like 4 things, and it was a long time ago, and it's like Star Trek Next Generation intro theme, and like I'm like, oh, he must love the tangents we went off on,
right?
But I wish he had more of a public thing going on.
Here, I'll put in a little plug for myself since you get all the fan art. Somebody will listen to this. Make me some fan art. I want to put some stuff up.
They don't really know what you look like, though.
Well, they can find out. It's not that hard.
Let's see here. What happens if I Google Thomas Gidlow? Images.
Yeah.
Like
Thomas you'll get you'll probably get some Facebook
Gidlow. Look at the very first picture. That's the picture from the park when we went out. I think so, right? Niagara native to debut film locally.
Yeah, that was the good picture, actually.
Yeah, that was the picture of you in your shirt. So. Thomas Gidlow, director of Victor James at Fort Niagara in April 2010. There you go.
Yeah, that was in some paper someplace. We did an interview for
when
two local rags, I think it was.
Okay, so the pictures that pop up, there's one of you that's ancient. There's it's you as a kid. And then right next to that is Wilford Brimley.
I'm synonymous with Wilford Brimley.
And then you have like Gidlow Movie Show, and there's a picture of Kelly and me and Haley and stuff like that. And Jeff Briggs' demo reel.
Yeah, well, the Gidlow Movie Show, and then suspicious file blocked. What the hell happened? I searched my name, suspicious file. Ooh,
Gidlow Lane. I don't know. There's a bunch of things that come up. I think I pop up more than you do.
There's Kelly, sister.
Yeah,
Haley. Yeah, demo reels and such.
TKL Studios. Anyway, yeah, weird tangent. But yeah, fan art for Tom. Go for it.
Yeah,
go for it. I want to see some good Tom fan art.
Moving on.
Let's tackle One more article, and then we'll move on to our mystery review that we keep hinting at. So I'm assuming there's going to be a tangent coming up here.
Uh-oh.
Because you were like, when I read you this article before, you were like, don't get me started. I'm like, no, I want to get you started. That's the point of this podcast.
Goody.
Okay, Thomas.
Tom's tangents.
So, the Academy has rescinded an Oscar nomination for an original song for Alone Yet Not Alone. The music was by Bruce Broughton and lyrics by Dennis Spiegel. Okay, so the whole reason why the Academy Award nomination was rescinded was, and I will quote from the article here, the decision was prompted by the discovery that Broughton, a former governor and current music branch executive committee member of the Academy, had emailed members of the branch to make them aware of his submission during the nomination's voting period. So, pretty much apparently that seems relatively like, since he's a part of the Academy, it could favor kind of, it could, I think it, although you do campaign for that sort of stuff, that's kind of
apparently he went a little too far.
His
knowledge was
so the Academy president was quoted. He said, "No matter how well intentioned the communication, using one's position as a former governor and current executive committee member to personally promote one's own Oscar submission creates the appearance of an unfair advantage."
Impropriety.
Yeah, definitely. So apparently in the terms and regulations, it says it is the Academy's goal to ensure the awards competition is conducted in a fair and ethical manner. If any campaign activity is determined by the Board of Governors to work in opposition to that goal, whether or not anticipated by these regulations, the Board of Governors may take corrective actions or assess any penalties. That is in its discretion.
Aren't they so nice to say that? Because they don't follow that at all. All
right.
I mean,
at least that's something they caught, and you know, at least yeah.
This is the same Academy, by the way, that didn't award Best Actor to an African American, I think, until 2001, wasn't it? Denzel or Halle, I think, won for Best Actor or Best Actress.
Maybe Best Actress, but not Best Actor, because Sidney Poitier had won the Oscar for Best Actor. Okay.
Well, I take that back.
No, this is the Academy that completely that nominated Argo for Best Picture, but didn't nominate the director for Best Director.
Right. Okay, yeah.
This is that Academy.
I could go off on 8,000 different tangents about the Academy, I suppose, but in relation to this, was this like an independent film, or was this a studio film?
I've never even heard of it as well. Yeah. It's Best Original Song, Alone Yet Not Alone. Let's see here.
It's one of those, out there type of films they love to pull in for. Well, I guess it's a minor award anyway. It wasn't like they got they weren't nominated for Best Picture or anything.
I guess this was. Oh yeah, I think this is a religious movie. Yeah, no, this is definitely a small movie.
Yeah. They like to, pull a couple of films out of the weeds nobody's ever seen or heard of, which is not bad. I don't necessarily disagree with that, because I mean, as an amateur filmmaker myself, I wouldn't, if I had something worthy of their attention, you wouldn't mind having them see it.
Yeah,
I suppose. But the thing that gets me about these guys is just, I mean, they're so wildly inconsistent. Like the whole thing with Argo, like they nominate it for Best Picture, but they don't nominate.
And award it Best Picture,
and then they win. I mean, he won like every director award there was for that film. I think up to that point, I think he won like Golden Globes and all this other stuff.
He might have been one for the Directors Guild as well.
Yeah, the Writers Guild, that kind of stuff, and
yeah,
I mean, they're just so wildly inconsistent. It's hard to take them seriously. They never they have these preconceived notions about what should be. What should be up for what awards and that kind of thing. And there are films that will never see the light of day at the Academy Awards for major awards because they don't fit a certain build. Like, I mean, how in the world could you not give The Dark Knight Rises The Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight, one of the only nominations, they might have been nominated for cinematography, which I think they might have been, was, the Heath Ledger's performance. How is that not nominated for Best Picture? When that's what I mean. Such
these
an
movies
impact.
Are so good, and it doesn't matter that they're comic book movies or that they're action films or whatever they are. They're just genuinely good movies. No, but they don't even get a chance.
You know what that pretty much states, though, is that no comic book movie will ever win an Oscar for Best Picture, because that wasn't even nominated, and that's like freaking best.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get much better than that. And even if like someone comes down the road like the Avengers or something, or like Iron Man or whatever, I mean, yeah, okay, Iron Man's not going to win Best Picture, but maybe there will be a film in that series or another series that's similar that would be that would easily qualify, or at least be better than half the films they actually choose.
Yeah.
But they'll never get a chance. So
Yeah.
I mean, and these guys, it's like they're the ultimate hypocrites, because they say one thing and then they do another. Or they say this, in this particular instance for this guy, because, obviously he's involved, so he's using his influence. But I mean, how many backroom kind of stuff like this are there? How much of this goes on that we don't have any clue about?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous that, well, this guy got caught and he's blah, 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 so let's make him a scapegoat, I guess. I mean, I don't really know enough about this particular guy to offer up much of an opinion, but just in general, I mean, it's hard to take anything they say, at more than face value, or with 10 grains of salt.
And again, this is me more so being me and fanboy-ish, I guess. I mean, they completely snubbed Christopher Nolan for both Inception and Dark Knight Rises. Like, I could see Dark Knight Rises not necessarily getting nominated, but like Dark Knight, it was nominated for everything under the sun except for Best Picture and Best Director. Like, it was nominated for cinematography, film editing, art direction, makeup, sound mixing, visual effects. It won for sound editing.
But not good enough to be nominated against how many other crap
whatever movies were out there. And then Inception also was nominated for a couple different things, and he was,
well, what about the Illusionist? Not the Illusion. What was the movie called?
Prestige.
The Prestige, yeah. That's an excellent movie.
That movie is very excellent. Well, apparently, okay, so Inception was nominated for Best Picture, but it wasn't director-wise. Or was it? No, it wasn't. But yeah, Prestige. The Prestige is like the one movie that I actually finally settled on currently as my favorite movie. And for the longest time, I never picked one because I was like, there are too many. I've seen too many. I can't pick a favorite movie. But for the last couple of years, I've been saying The Prestige is my favorite movie because that's a movie I could watch anytime and just completely relish in it. Like, it's
is it relatively bad that my favorite movie is from 20 years ago now and it still has not been replaced?
That's not a horrible thing. I mean, there's different things that trigger different emotions and everything in different people. I love your favorite film is The Professional. We've talked about it before on this show. The Professional is an excellent movie. And I remember there was an email back when we were doing emails and all that stuff saying how they felt it was like The Professional was a completely underrated movie and nobody ever talks about it. And the fact that we were, spent a good portion of talking about how great of a movie it is something, good to hear. Because that movie is such a small movie, but it's so good. It is. Yeah,
and the thing about it was never intended to be anything more than just filler until his next project, I think it was.
Yeah, until what's it called? Fifth Element, which Joe watched earlier today, actually. I was talking
which
to
is
Joe.
Another good movie that doesn't get a lot to do, but
I think it gets way more than
too ahead of its time. I think at that point, that's what it was.
It gets way more due than The Professional does. I don't. think too many people know about
but
The
it still doesn't. It kind of gets lost in the whole '90s sort of era of movies like Armageddon and all those movies and
other Bruce Willis movies.
Yeah, well, I like Armageddon. Armageddon's a good movie. Like I went back and watched that recently. This is probably months ago, but
yeah,
you go back and watch older movies that you've seen 1,000 times, but you haven't seen in like 10 years.
Yeah,
and you realize how good they are. Like Independence Day is a really good movie, and it was an intelligent movie. It wasn't a dumbed down, stupid, actiony movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
And they just it makes you long for those days when you had it so good but didn't realize it because now you've had 10 years worth of absolute crap.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how long you've missed those good type of action movies.
Well, speaking of Armageddon, how are you feeling about Michael Bay's career recently?
I don't know really that much. I don't follow Michael Bay news.
Yeah.
Old reference.
That gets made every once in a while.
Yeah. I don't really follow a whole lot of what's going on with Mr. Bay, although I think there was something going on that he's completely changed directions and doing, what's he doing now? Like cinema, like film noir or something now?
Well, no, he did Pain and Gain, but now he's directing the newest Transformers movie.
Oh, so he's back in the saddle.
His go-to indie thing was Pain and Gain. That was it.
And that was an indie film?
No, not really.
Oh.
it was a Michael Bay movie. Like, it wasn't like
I haven't seen that movie.
Okay, well, here was the thing: was after the Revenge of the Fallen, the second Transformers movie, he said he wasn't going to do any more of them, or he was going to take a break and do kind of lower budget movies. And then he directed the third Transformers movie. And after that, he said, you know what? I'm going to step back from this, not doing any more, pass it on to somebody else. We did our trilogy. I'm going to work on a smaller movie. He made Pain and Gain. I mean, budget-wise, it wasn't as big as Transformers. It wasn't full of explosions and, apparently it was outrageously violent. But it still didn't have, the explosions and robots and shit like that. It was just it was a movie. I didn't see it. I can't really, weigh in on it. But then he went back and did another Transformers movie. And I believe, I could be wrong about this, I'm pretty sure he plans on handing it off to somebody once again after this. He just wanted to restart with what's his name? Michael Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg, not Michael Wahlberg.
Is that
Michael
the long-lost brother we never heard of?
Yeah, so many different Wahlbergs.
They could hand that franchise off to anyone, and I don't think... I mean, they'd have to completely just start it all over again. But, I mean, it's just gone... Again, it's one of those movies they know they've got an audience for. It's horrible nonsense. I don't... Yeah, I mean... I just don't get it. Like, I understand from their perspective, again, that they've got this, thing, but... I mean, they couldn't... I don't know that they could give it to anyone who could save that franchise. But, I mean, it's not... like again, it's not really needing saved, I guess, because they keep making more of them, so they must be making money off of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Transformers does really well.
Big.
Cha-ching! But anyway...
Bank. Avatar.
Back on the topic of, we didn't know how good we had it. Do you remember back, and I think this was probably 2003. Let me confirm this with the movie I know we went and saw at the time. I'm pretty sure it was 2003. Yep, 2003. I remember we had gone, like, that's when we were going to the movies, like, every couple weeks.
Right.
And it was like you, me, and Kelly, or just you and me, or, whatever. I remember we had seen like 4 or 5 movies in a row, and you were just saying, like, I remember you specifically saying this about how every single movie we saw was excellent. Like, it wasn't like, it's all right. It was every single movie. And the movie I specifically remember you saying that after was Life of David Gale.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a very good movie, and I think I haven't heard anybody talk about that ever, and I never see it on TV or anything. It's just like completely disappeared.
There's I think there's a reason for that, and a lot of it has to do, I think, with 9/11. There was a dead period for like 4 years or so where you don't really, unless you've seen it, you don't remember anything that came out in that time period unless it was Hearts War, or it was, Black Hawk Down, or it was like one of those.
I completely forget about Hearts War.
It was the first, for some reason, I don't know why, it was the first thing that popped into my head. But there was a lot of those Hollywood gearing up, pro-American, and
USA,
it was
USA.
very war movie and that kind of thing. It was like after Pearl Harbor, it was the same thing. Yeah. And so there was a lot of movies that kind of got lost and tossed by the wayside.
Well, that was
really good.
I think that was a big thing about Sum of All Fears, because that came out right after 9/11. And that was a movie about a major terrorist attack that could have been one of the reasons why that reboot didn't get the feat it needed, because it was just after. It might have been too soon.
That and Spider-Man. Remember, they redid the entire ending of that movie because of 9/11. Like, they had the Twin Towers prominently featured, and they were going to have the creature go through them and all this stuff. Yeah. And they decided, no, obviously we can't do that. And then that's what made the movie. That's what made it, for me, so good, was the New Yorkers getting behind everybody and, helping Spider-Man and everything. And then him with the American flag at the end. It was awesome. Yeah. It was really, I hate to say it wasn't a good time, but it was a good time for movies, because there was a lot of quality movies coming out that, again, looking back, you don't necessarily remember unless you saw them. Yeah, and The Life of David Gale was one of the best ones I've ever. I mean, that's up there in my top 10 somewhere. Definitely, how good that movie is.
That's a very good movie.
Yeah,
but
we had it so good, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and it's very hit or miss now.
And movies. Yeah, I was about to say movies like that. Movies like Life of David Gale are few and far between. Like, you don't. It's either a movie being produced by an indie, company that or it's a movie that's produced independently and then picked up by a distributor. Like,
well, that's the way it's going to go now. You're gonna there's the disconnect is going to continue to grow so wide that it's just going to you're going to have the top, major films, major studio films, and then you're going to have everything else.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The thing that always gets me about this whole thing is that the people, and I don't mean to blame people, but I mean, like, the people are the ones always clamoring for original, and we want new stuff, and this, that, and the other. They keep going to the theater and watching this crap, so, I mean, they're never going to change until people stop going to see these movies.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to make piles of money on these movies, and they're going to, people can complain about how expensive going to the movies is, and food and all that stuff. Well, if you keep going and you keep buying all the stuff there, they're never going to stop. They're just going to keep charging more and keep, pumping out crap. So
yeah.
you got to... if you want change, you got to go out there and do it. Because there's a lot of I'm sure a ton of great movies out there that nobody's ever seen and that'll never see the light of day because they can't compete with these studios.
Absolutely. And it's not even necessarily that they're already out there. It's a movie that, maybe somebody has an idea for or a script written for it that is never going to get produced because they don't have the money to do it.
That's the only way, and that's the thing. That's the model's going to go towards, because there's so much, the saturation of and the ease of being able to make movies now. There's so much stuff out there that you're never going to get it out there unless you have the financing yourself to be able to push it along.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's going to, not to say that you can't do it, but the odds of it are even more staggering than they were 5 years ago. And I've had a lot of conversations with people in the industry and all that stuff, and I've seen 800 Indiegogo campaigns and Kickstarter campaigns, and nobody ever comes anywhere near, unless it's the odd project here or there, nobody ever comes anywhere close to it. And it's a little disheartening because it's like, for me, I want to get into doing that kind of stuff, but I know now, through experience and just doing research and stuff, I got to have some money behind me to do it, or else there's no point,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a mess of a situation, but again, if there is that needle in the haystack that has the money that can do those kinds of things, I think there's definitely a market for it as long as people are willing to buy it.
Yeah. Yep. So that's our life indie lessons from Thomas and Daniel Gidlow.
Yeah.
So
if you've got money out there, by the way, if you've got a lot of money and you just don't know what to do with it,
Thomas has plenty of ideas. I have some ideas. You and I have had ideas together and separately, and one day you will see a movie from the Gidlow brothers. I swear to God,
there is no doubt.
One day.
It may be a while from now, but one day.
Yeah.
And one movie will propel us to the stratosphere.
When I'm retired at the age of 35 and I have my millions, Tom and I will be producing our movie. Yes. I don't know. Well, I mean, let's take this brief moment to talk about our attempt at a movie.
I don't know that we've ever actually talked about this publicly.
We haven't, and this was, I think, will be actually an interesting, since it's a slow news week for the most part.
Right. Nobody cares about any of that stuff anyway.
This might be a little bit interesting to talk about. So Tom and I, about 2 years ago, before
2011, it was the summer of 11.
It was the summer of 11. It was just before I, quit my job at Lowe's, the gas station, and before the whole YouTube thing really ramped up for me. As a living, as something where I could actually earn a living. Tom and I, you had your short film, Victor James, that was, I don't know what I was going to go with there. That was, it was a really well made, like, you actually, coordination wise, were able to get actors to come to a location. You were able to get an actual location to film at. A couple different locations to film at,
yeah.
And like, you coordinated this like whole production off of no budget whatsoever, pretty much. And
the funny part about that was we had I got on the Free Beer and Hot Wings show and beat Zane.
Is that?
Remember that?
Yeah.
And that was just before we were going to do part 2 of the production, and I had like no money at all, and I won $400. They sent the check the week before we started.
I would have won like $3,200 if I had done that.
You should. Again, I say Daniel was in the contest before for $3,200, and I was dead asleep right next to him, and he didn't wake me up beforehand.
Yeah.
And he got trounced. But anyway,
I absolutely got trounced. But Zane had a good zinger against you anyway.
Yes.
So that's all beside the point. But any free to the commenters or anything? Anybody listen to Free Beer and Hot Wings? No. Okay.
No.
They're a nationally syndicated radio show. So somebody
I haven't
hopefully
listened to them in a year or two.
You know what? I tried listening to them probably about when I was really heavy into listening to Howard Stern and different podcasts and stuff like that. I became a VIP member again. And started downloading their episodes. Still just as funny. They're still just as hilarious.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But anyway, so you had put together that production, did that, and that was when I was still working at Lowe's, but before I moved out. But then I ended up moving out. Lived with Kelly for half a year, and then I came back. And when I came back, I had the interest, like you were trying to do like a reboot kind of thing or a sequel. You were constantly trying to develop something with that character. Because not that it was a bad thing, but you were stuck on that character and you wanted to keep telling stories.
Because we did the short, and I wanted to do a feature with most of the same actors. We recast quite a bit of the, we created new roles and recast some of the main ones. But I wanted to be able to use proper equipment and tell a better story, or at least a story that I felt was better.
Yeah.
And put them in a better light. That was really the basis behind that.
Yeah, and like not that you're a bad writer. You're not a bad writer at all.
I was horrible then.
Yeah. Well, no, but you had written some stuff that I liked. I liked some of the stuff that you had written, but I had the idea, a different take on it. So I tried writing. I had written a couple different scenes for you to see because I liked the idea you had going, and so I tried writing something, and then it became you and I were going to write it, and you and I were going to come up with something, and that's before I even because I had written a couple different scenes with a completely different take on it from what you had, and more so with my voice, but then we ended up completely redoing from that too. So anyway. So I ended up kind of taking it upon myself to write pretty much the entire thing, and then you were going to go through and rewrite it after that. I think that's what our plan was for me to write a draft and then you to rewrite it, and then us
something like
toy it together, something like that. Right. So I spent a lot of my time working at the gas station with my mom's laptop, just writing away this script that you and I were both really liking. I was really liking what I was coming up with, and I think you were liking what I was coming up with as well.
Yeah, I had my moments looking back on it that I was really hard-headed in a lot of ways. I was like, well, he would never do this, or this is ridiculous, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I go back sometimes and I reread some of this stuff. You wrote the entire first third. For sure.
Definitely the first act and a little bit of the second act.
That we called the final script. And I only did minor tweaking here or there. But even going back and rereading that and then seeing where it just completely falls apart now is when I took over it.
Yeah, the point where I stopped writing and you started writing is where it fell apart.
Going in 8,000 different directions and that kind of thing. But anyway, I go back and I read it. And it's still really good. It still holds up. There's some moments in there where, that are perfect for that character, especially the relationship that the character has with his mentor of sorts. Yeah. And the actor we found was perfect. I couldn't think of a better person to play that character. And so, anyway, I don't know how far we're going to get into this, but the whole, the story would have gotten... back then, maybe it wouldn't have gotten as good as maybe it would, if we did it more recently. But it was a good story, and it's something that I think is unique. Still, I don't see anything anywhere near this kind of stuff out there. So it's a unique story, and it's.
Well, I mean, I would say I wouldn't say it's a 100% unique story. Obviously, no story is 100% unique.
Right.
It was more so. It was a revenge movie with kind of a twist that we had added with it that I think made it unique. Definitely. Right. But I just remember writing it was so fun because it was coming out of me, and I had no idea where it was coming from because it was actually structuring well, and I had never written anything too serious before then.
Well, that's the thing, and you had no involvement at all in the short film.
No, absolutely not.
My ultimate regret. I wish you had, but you had no involvement in the short film, and were able to take sort of like little small highlights from the short itself and build
Yeah.
that into and take that and go off on different.
Well, I mean,
planes.
you have to build off the themes if you're going to do like a full theatrical thing. But I mean, the biggest thing is ultimately, hopefully, one day we'll actually be able to make that movie. I would love to be able to make that movie because, like you said, I've gone back and reread it, and it's just like, man, I want to keep writing this, but I don't have no time to do it.
Yeah.
But because we had a pretty good arc for the most part. You see, the thing is, the way I write is we had a small arc figured out, like a really in general skeleton of the movie, but I was writing scene to scene, not knowing what I was going to write next.
Right.
And it was all just kind of patching together. And once you took over, there were times where I remember you would write something and I'm like, well, this is what I would imagine would happen. And you would take that advice and kind of go off and write more. So I don't know if like the way you had written it would be the way I would still go through and write it, but it was just so fun writing that because like I loved writing the dialogue, and like the way I write is like I would write the dialogue, just having the two characters in my head talk back and forth, and then through
how they would actually talk,
and then going back, refining it, going back and refining it to the point where every word was deliberate, and then you would go in and you're like, I'm going to change this and just this and this. And I'm like, no, I wrote this very specifically to be this way. Like, because you would change small words and I would have a problem with that. And then you would have a problem with it because you wanted to write it your way and I would want to write it my way.
I was insanely hard-headed. I mean, there's no way around it.
But
like,
I'm to a point hard-headed as well.
Right. But I think time away from it, and, you know, obviously you've developed quite an amazing talent for doing different things. And, you know, and I've written a million different things since then that, you know, none of which have really seen the light of day at all or anything like that. But that's the thing about writing, is that you get better automatically almost the more you write.
Yeah.
And reading different scripts and seeing how other people do things and kind of molding it all together and keeping your own sort of central theme, you know, makes you that much better of a writer. But the thing that I always kick myself about this thing is because we had, you know, the wheels turning. We had a script finished. We had actors signed on.
Yeah, we were starting to cast people. Like,
we had all of the cast except for maybe a couple of people that we still needed to find. We couldn't find an Hispanic person to play like one of the heavies towards the end of the movies. For some reason, I couldn't find anybody. But so we get, you know, to August or so, and we had to go through the Screen Actors Guild because we had SAG actors. We had two, and we weren't gonna not do the film without these two guys because for one, the one of them was in the short, and he was the ultimate bad guy. We were not gonna do the film without him.
Yeah. Do you not want to say his name or?
Well, I mean, people can find out. I mean, they can go watch the short film. And
it's on my channel.
It's on Dan's channel. It's called Victor James. You can YouTube search Victor James, and it's got to be like one of the first two that come up. There's a wide receiver draft guy that's there. But watch the film. He's the bad guy. And then the guy we were going to have play Dirk was SAG as well. And there was no way, again, we weren't going to do the film without him because he was perfect. We made a trailer out of his audition video. That's how good he was.
Did. Yeah, his audition was so perfect because like we had seen a few different takes or a few different actors like audition tapes, and they were horrid. They were really bad.
They weren't so much bad. It's just they weren't really on par with what we thought the character was.
Yeah,
and
it was people really reading lines like, "I don't like that, Victor." Like it was just people. It was people like just being really heavy-handed and not like this guy emoted.
Well, this guy
everything
had a
so
lot
well.
of professional experience.
I'm looking at his IMDb right now. He's only been in 34 movies.
He's doing a lot of movies too. He does his own series and produces and that kind of thing. But anyway, so while you're doing that, we were going through SAG, and again, this is at a time where I'm very hard-headed, me against the world kind of thing, and I still am to a certain extent. But you know, we couldn't make it work financially with these guys to keep them. We were going to film, you know, parts. We were going to do it in parts and then try to get some more money and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And SAG was unwielding, and, you know, there are certain minimums you have to hit, and, you know, just kind of, I mean, I understand it to a point, but some of it got a little bit tedious and ridiculous, and we couldn't make it work. And which was sad because it was, a chance to work, for us to work together and be on a set and do all that kind of stuff. And we were getting pretty far along.
Yeah.
And, we'd raised, I think, almost half of what we thought we'd need for a budget, which was, I still can't believe we'd raised that much. And, but we got halfway there or thereabouts, and then it kind of all fell apart with the whole SAG thing. But I think
it got to a point where it was like, through the budgetary issue with having to deal with SAG and that essentially having to raise our budget and meet all of these stupid ridiculous things, and the fact that my YouTube channel was starting to take off a little bit.
Yes,
it was like one of those things where it's like,
well, everything was coming together and there was no way it was going to work anyway. Yeah. But thankfully, because I think if we'd have made a movie then, it would have been good. But I think if we wait, again, it's like you always say, you get better at what you do, I get better at what I do. We both make inroads in, our careers and all that stuff. Ultimately, it's only going to make the film that much better.
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, I definitely think if we had made it back then, it would probably be something that, well, see, I don't know. I don't know 100% because...
No, I still think it would be good.
Yeah, I don't think it would be something we would look back at and be like, that was really good. But... might not 100% stand up as best.
Oh, and I'm sure there would be parts of it that, man, I wish we'd have done this different, or man, I wish we'd have done that different. And you're always going to have that, but you don't want to, you want to try to do the best that you can.
Yeah.
And we were not ready at that point to do a feature film. I don't think.
No way. But I mean, at this point, like, I've had experience in editing, directing, and stuff like that. Like, I only think, if we made this movie a couple years down the road, it would only be so much better. Like, it could be very good. But one day I'll finish writing it and we'll get together and we'll do something with it. But one day.
One day for sure. And then that'll propel us into... making Die Hard 17.
Die Hard 17. All right. Well, that was our big, long, random...
But we're both very passionate about it, so we'll...
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully people enjoy that, and, people stay tuned and stuff, because we'll talk about it probably more as we go.
Yeah, that'd be a fun little thing. We should start... Well, no. I have so many other things I need to write. We should start that soon. No.
My workload's tough, too.
Working, Thomas.
Working.
At least it's fun work. I love my job.
We both. That's the weird thing is that you've been there for a while now, but I finally got there too, where we're doing stuff that we both enjoy doing, and we're getting paid to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. Okay, so
are we gonna get into this review?
Yes.
Finally?
This we're an hour in almost. The review of available on Netflix.
Don't watch
movie 43. Now,
just don't watch it.
Hold on, wait. Okay, so I wanna wait. Let me go to the IMDb really quick.
Preface this. Yeah.
Okay, so this needs some build up here, guys. Okay, so this is a movie that stars Academy Award winners and nominees. It stars Dennis Quaid, Greg Kinnear, Hugh Jackman, Kate Winslet.
This is in order of appearance, apparently.
Liev Schreiber. No, maybe
close to it.
Oh yeah, okay. No, not exactly. Okay, so yeah, maybe. Okay, Liev Schreiber, Naomi Watts, Chris Pratt, Anna Faris, Emma Stone, Kate Bosworth, Richard Gere, Uma Thurman. There's so many people there, and there's plenty of other names that I could go down those lists.
Halle Berry,
Gerard Butler. Did I not say Halle Berry? Sean William Scott, Johnny Knoxville, Stephen Merchant. Terrence Howard.
Did Lawrence Fishburne do a voiceover? I could have sworn that was him doing the voiceover of the basketball part.
No, he's not. He's not credited.
Maybe he got uncredited. I don't know. It sounded like him.
Oh, I didn't catch that. So so this is a movie with every actor under the sun, and so this is a movie. Essentially, it's a movie, quote unquote. It's a series of shorts that are strung together by Greg Kinnear and Dennis Quaid. It's Dennis Quaid trying to pitch a bunch of different movies to
it's
Greg
all
Kinnear.
one movie he's trying to pitch to.
It's all one. Well, it's his different ideas though. It wasn't supposed to be one movie, but so yeah, it's all these different stupid shorts. And so the very first short we see is Kate Winslet and Hugh Jackman at a romantic dinner. But the hilarious ha-ha point of it, the whole thing, is that Hugh Jackman has a ball sack on his neck.
Yeah, and it was just disgusting. Like, it wasn't It wasn't funny.
Cue the laugh track.
Because you get all the because you're
speechless right now.
How many things can we do to his balls that would be hilarious? Like, let's dip them in
the
this.
The joke is nobody else notices.
And let's have him eat something off of his balls. And let's take him pictures. And
let's have a baby rub the balls against the baby's head.
And Kate, they're both such fantastic actors. And the thing was, like, in the first credit runs, you saw the outtakes of him, like, I can't fucking do this. Like,
the point where he has to pee out of his mouth. He's like, I have to go to the bathroom.
I just
that more or less seemed like a funny outtake. It more seemed like him not wanting to, like.
Yeah, that was his. I mean, he was in good humor and stuff because he's a nice. Hugh Jackman seems like a genuinely good guy.
Yeah, he seems like the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah, so of course he's going to go along with it, and he's not going to be an ass or anything.
Yeah,
but I'll be an ass for him. Those two are really. They're on other stratospheres as far as talent goes, at least in my opinion. I think they're fantastically talented actors. And Kate Winslet. She did about as good as you could do in that position, trying to get everybody to notice, and just the whole idea is so stupid that nobody notices it. And I understand it's the guy making the pitch, so this is his idea, and it's terrible. And of course, Greg Kinnear thinks it's terrible, and all this stuff. But it just sets the tone for the entire movie, and that you can't imagine the depths that they're going to go. That's the whole thing. It's like shock, block, blah, blah, whatever. And you had actually messaged me, and I mentioned this to you earlier, about how you should have warned me because I made dinner before I sat down to watch this movie. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really know that much about it. It's like a bunch of people, everybody's in it, and it's just stupid humor. So whatever, I'll just sit back and try and enjoy it. And the first 20 minutes were ballsack and fart crap jokes and, somebody wanting to crap all over somebody else. Yeah. And I was about ready to turn it off. Like, I was live typing Daniel on Skype. He was offline, but I was, so I'd have notes and stuff. And I was 22 minutes in, and I'm like, I can't take this anymore. And thankfully, at least I got off of the whole crap and shit humor for a little while.
For a little bit.
For a little while, and then, whatever. And I mean, there were some funny-ish parts to it. The thing that I found kind of funny was the kids in the machines was kind of metaphorical in a way. It was almost sad. You almost felt kind of sad.
That was pretty sad. And I thought that was a legitimately, but that seemed like a YouTube video. That seemed like it was only like a minute and a half long.
That was
skit.
like a commercial because they did the iBabe stuff and they were doing commercials in and out and all that kind of stuff. But that was somewhat funny. That was kind of funny. But the whole thing about this movie is that it's the comedy of the day, and the comedy of the day generally sucks.
Now, it's not even the comedy of the day. Because,
no, it is. Not in some circles.
No, it's the comedy of epic movie from like 2009.
Yeah, okay, but Jason Sudeikis type of stuff. Like, it's that kind of
comedy. No, okay, hold on.
I can't stand that guy.
Hold on. I like Jason Sudeikis a lot. That was absolutely horrible.
That's him, though. That's his kind of humor.
I have seen him do funnier shit. Like I've seen him do
I never really
stuff.
liked him that much on Saturday Night Live. And he did a couple of characters I liked. But it seemed like to me this was Saturday Night Live if it could be rated R or NC-17. I don't really know how.
Well, it's just as hit or miss as Saturday Night Live is, and mainly miss though.
Well, there was not many hits. The only, like I was saying, the babies in the copier machine was funny. The basketball thing, although they went on and on a little too much,
they drove that
was hilarious.
Yes.
Especially when the guy gets the technical foul and hits the 1 point, and they're all going crazy, and it's 103-1. That was funny. That was Simpson-y kind of humor, which I kind of thought that was funny. And I got to pull up the note to find the third thing because it's that memorable. I don't remember what the Halle Berry thing with Steven. What's his name?
Well, you liked that at first. Mm-hmm. But that got a little far.
I only liked it at first because I thought most of this is ad-libbed, and she's good at ad-libbing. Like, she's very real. Like, I could. It seemed to me it was Halle Berry talking to this other guy, so that was kind of good. It was all right.
Yeah.
And when Steven went up to do the slap ass thing, that was all right, and it was kind of funny. But then they just go on this whole other thing, and it's just
it's essentially a dare game. They're playing truth or dare, and they're just increasingly making worse and worse dares.
And you know it's just going to get stupider and stupider. And
yeah, by the end of it, Halle Berry is Botoxed and plastic surgeryed up like with gigantic boobs, and Stephen Merchant is an Asian man with a dick tattoo on his face and stuff like that. And it's stupid. Like it's
funny part about that. Not funny at all. I don't mean funny in a humorous way. The odd part about that was that I went back after I watched the movie. I went on IMDb and saw that they had cut out a scene with a couple other actors because it was too offensive to a certain type of people. And I'm like, okay, but this isn't. This isn't offensive to Asian people or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see why they didn't advance this film at all. They didn't pre-screen this with critics at all because I mean I can't imagine the backlash they would have got for it. They would have been people. I'm sure critics would have got up and left after the first 20 minutes. I don't think most of them could have stayed after that part.
Yeah,
because it's not even like it's not even lowbrow humor. It's below that. I mean, and the thing that really drives me more crazier than anything, I guess, is that this film made a lot of money compared to its budget. Like its overall gross was near $30 million. Mm-hmm. And I know that's not a lot, but it only cost $6 million to make.
I mean, it was only because it was marketed for the star power. Like it was marketed as all of these actors who are usually serious actors, doing goofy shit.
Yeah. If it had been 45 known people you never heard of, it wouldn't have made $5.
No.
But because it was everybody. Yeah. And I just I would have liked to have seen a movie where they all don't take themselves seriously and they're all joking around and having fun and it's just a goof. Okay, fine. I would have, I was looking forward to seeing that kind of movie because I honestly couldn't remember anything about this movie because I'd seen trailers and stuff for it and blah blah, and I'd seen the basketball thing, promoted 100 million times all over the place. But this was not that movie.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, I don't know how vitriolic you get about it, but
terrible. It had me a little bit at the beginning. I at first found the Hugh Jackman thing a little humorous, but that was just gross out humor. And then I actually did kind of like the one with the parents and the son, where they were just mentally tormenting him.
Oh no, I couldn't watch that. It got so bad.
But I have a really dark sense of humor, so I thought that was pretty fucked up, but still kind of funny at the same time. That went a little. That got a little weird, but was still. I like Liev Schreiber. I do too. You like Liev Schreiber as well.
I like Liev Schreiber a lot. He's a really good actor again, but I don't know. When he reads the script, how does he do this? I'm trying to because he takes it seriously. I mean,
yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing: I remember Mark Kermode and Mayo, BBC whatever one, I think radio. They do reviews. I'm a big fan of them. Mark Kermode is a huge Richard Gere fan. He loves Richard Gere, and he had an opportunity to interview Richard Gere for a different movie, and asked him why he did movie 43, and Richard Gere his response was oh, it was my son's friend's dad is a producer and he asked me to do it, and so I did it for a day. It was just he seemed to hardly remember doing it, and he seemed kind of conned into doing it and just completely dismissive about it. And it was just that's what seemed to be with everybody involved with this movie. It's
it was many people.
Let's call in every favor we have with any actor.
Oh yeah,
possible.
Not only that, but let's put every person you could never see in this situation in as comfortable a position as possible, and make them play it off as though it's funny.
Yeah. I mean, the only person who I think really was who was probably I don't know. Dennis Quaid seemed really he had to have. I don't know. It was really weird to see all of these people in these roles because it honestly seemed like they had to have had some idea going in what it was going to be, but it was still just I don't know.
Well, and you'd think some of these people probably would have said, okay, they're getting a paycheck for it. Okay, fine. The budget was only $6 million. I don't know who was getting paid what, but it wasn't a lot.
Like I said, favors. It had to. That would have been the production alone. Because
I'm sure some of these guys. $6 million is what they get paid per film. you know?
Yeah. But you
So-
would imagine it was like some people maximum had 2 days of shooting on it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It had to
that's
have been,
the thing. It's all a bunch of, shoot one day type of deals. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get all these people, and for so cheap. It was like I said, it's just like, yeah, we're working on something. Can you just come in for one day, please, 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 please?
Ugh.
That's what had to have been. But no, it wasn't funny.
The only one, like, I thought Common was good, and I liked Greg. I thought Greg Kinnear was good. Both of them were good for the roles they were in.
Yeah.
I don't like Dennis Quaid at all. Like, I used to like him all right, but it seems like every movie he does now, he just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, he just has nothing. Like, he used to be good. Like, I remember even the baseball movie he
The
did
Rookie
was decent. Yeah. But ever since we watched that movie, I think it was, Vantage Point? Ever since then,
Yes.
I just can't stand him. Like, he's horrible. He's not a good action guy, and he's not a good hero guy. He's not a good, everyday guy.
Frequency is my favorite movie with him in it.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that movie.
That was a long while ago.
That was 2000.
Yeah, but I don't know what the attraction is to him for a film. Like, he's just he's playing some sort of emo guy.
Yeah, his hair was so stupid looking.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, let's get these guys who, and make them look as ridiculous as possible. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of them were like, okay, well, now this is done. We'll never think about it again, and nobody will ever ask about it again. It'll have its little moment, and then it'll be done. But I don't know how. It's like, I felt for sure like I was going to get scarred watching this, and I actually had the thought, like, I've never been affected by a movie, like horror movie or action movie or that kind of thing, but I was getting close to having a reaction to this film.
You haven't been affected by a movie?
Not like in a sense that I've been affected, but not like in a sense to where, like, it's not like on an emotional sort of level. It's weird. Like, I physically felt like I was gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, and I've never had that like at any horror film or like blood and guts kind of thing. But I started feeling like I might throw up here because it was just disgusting. Like the ball thing, the balls started it, and then the crap explosion when a guy gets hit by a car was disgusting. And it's just like,
so not funny at all.
That's like, I understand fart jokes and humor and that kind of thing. I've just never found that funny at all. I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
but a lot of people do, so whatever.
So yeah, ultimately just a shitty movie.
Aha, good one.
It's just really not good. But I think this could lead. So neither of us recommend this at all.
No, for the love of God, don't watch it.
I watched it because Liz. I watched it because Liz turned it on, and then after that, I was like, okay. Since we watched it all, I was like, okay, Tom, watch this because we need something to review. So I figured we'd review this. But okay, so I think this actually could lead us on to a relatively interesting topic. I don't know if you've had too many experiences like this, but have you had any movies that have affected you on like any sort of like making you nervous or making you? I mean, obviously movies make you happy sometimes, but like what movies specifically have affected you on an emotional level? I know you said generally horror movies don't do this, but
two that come to mind are. I wouldn't say that affect me emotionally in one sense, but creatively. Like, you sent me a couple years ago for Christmas. You sent me all the Nolan movies.
Yeah,
and I still have yet to go watch them like in chronological order and take notes and that kind of thing. But I would say The Dark Knight was one that really sort of like made me question sort of the things that I do, and then The Dark Knight Rises, and I know it's the same kind of movie, and it's Batman and whatever, which isn't bad, but after The Dark Knight Rises, it really made me pause and like, I don't want to do anything that's not of a certain quality, and that is like the best quality overall story, look, action, everything in that movie looked about as good as you could make it look, and feel. And like, I know there's plot, whatever, and he should have died and all that, whatever. Like, I mean, you can poke holes in almost everything.
Absolutely.
But that is the type of quality and story quality and story, all of that stuff that's what I would rather try to emulate. And that really affected me from a standpoint of what I did on my own, Because after that, I kind of took a break and said, look, I don't want to do anything that's not of a certain quality. And I've never been there. Like, I always wanted to make stuff just to make stuff, and to, eventually get better at doing stuff. And you learn by doing, and that's true. But I don't want to make something that's going to end up looking, dated in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make something that's good, that people enjoy, and that there's a reason to make it other than I just want to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that point, I think, Christopher Nolan's one of those filmmaker who really understands that movies should be about kind of restoring the magic and wonder of movies, because it's like, I want to say there's only been a couple different moments in the last 10 years where I've been in a theater and I was actually like taken aback by something. And in Inception, that the zero gravity fight sequence, or not even the zero gravity, the rotating hallway fight sequence was absolutely amazing. Just like seeing the camera in one position and these guys like essentially running around the walls fighting each other was amazing. And that was something that like I was watching I was like, how do they do that? Like, that doesn't happen in movies anymore, where there are these big set pieces or moments where it's just like completely takes you aback. He did that with The Dark Knight with the truck flipping. He did it with Inception with that scene, and the intro sequence for The Dark Knight Rises, where there are people mounting a plane and ripping it apart in midair. Like that's stuff that really just like has my jaw to the floor, and that rarely happens.
That's where CGI has a place.
And it's it's a lot of that was done practically, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, but CGI is meant to add things to it, not to become the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when people use it as the thing, CGI will never replace what like Nolan does and those kind of things. I mean, and people always will try it though, and they will, like. What was that movie that came out recently? I didn't see it, but I saw the trailer for it. Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Those kind of movies, it almost disappoints me that they do so well. Yeah. Because there's nothing to... Like, even if the story's good, it's like... It's something. There's no reality to it at all.
Yeah, it's something that you're walking into that you are completely desensitized to, because it's all
now
fake.
You are, yeah.
You're watching it and you're like, that's CGI. That's really good CGI, but it's CGI. And so, like, when I'm watching these sequences with Nolan where I can't tell what's CGI and what isn't and what's being practically done, it's like, it seems like it's all practically being done because it's so realistic and it's so well choreographed and it's so well shot and actually acted out that it's awe-inspiring. It's something that I'm watching people board a plane. The plane is now being hooked up and ripped apart. It looks amazing. It looks real. And then I watch Pacific Rim. Sure, it's pretty realistic looking, but at the same time, I did not get the impact watching that movie.
No, because first of all, you're not going to find a life-size monster-looking whatever. I don't even know what the movie was. Wasn't it about... It was
about a rift opening up in the Pacific Ocean. It was essentially like a rift where these alien monster creatures came through and started destroying shit. And so we built giant robots to fight them.
I don't even know what to say. I was
a part of apparently the small camp that did not like that movie because everybody seemed to like it, and I was like,
well, that's what disappoints me somewhat is like. When the average everyday moviegoer goes to see a movie and they come out, they're like, man, those graphics were awesome, and I want to see those action, the graphics. That's the market, Yeah. They don't care. So I mean, the casual moviegoer, which is what all these studios want to get at anyway, is they don't care.
Yeah.
So I fear the directors of Nolan, those kind of quality directors, and even J.J. Abrams does that. Like, I know he's got Star Trek, so you have to have CGI everywhere because you can't recreate space, without it looking like crap.
Yeah.
So use it for that for sure. But even he uses practical. It's a very practical way that he goes about doing it.
JJ, although he's a lot more embracing of special effects and CGI more so than Nolan. He is somebody who loves to do as much in camera as possible while maintaining the fantastical aspect with CGI.
Right. Again, it adds to what he's trying to create. It's part of the, he has the story and then uses that to augment the story. Whereas a lot of these other guys, that's the story, is that look at these explosions, look how real. Yeah. It's like Battleship. I remember seeing scenes from Battleship. They were incredible. Don't get me wrong. Like, the movie's terrible and the acting's horrible and Rihanna is not an actor. But the thing that I took away from that was, oddly enough, the daytime CGI scenes were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, they looked incredible. Okay, I give them their just due. But that's all it is.
That's all the movie has going for it. It has no story.
Like, it wasn't augmenting anything. That was the story. Look at these great explosions. And that's where the entire budget went, I'm sure, went into making it look as realistic as they possibly could.
Yeah. You know what's absolutely sad about that is that was directed by Peter Berg. And Peter Berg is one, he's an actor, but he directed what's it called? The Kingdom? I think that was what it was called.
Yeah.
He directed that movie. That movie is excellent. I love that movie. And he's just
Ron Howard's another one, by the way. He's another director who, again, uses CGI to augment things. I don't really know that he's done a lot recently, but he's another one that he just makes good quality movies. It seems like. So
Ron Howard's he's definitely. What specifically was big effects? He tried.
I don't remember too much about the effects, but I remember like Forrest Gump, like him using the.
Definitely an innovator with that. But he didn't direct Forrest Gump though.
Well, wasn't he involved with that?
He might have been a producer, maybe.
I don't know. Who directed that movie?
That was Robert Zemeckis.
That's right. Okay.
He had no involvement. But Robert Zemeckis has always been somebody who's been stepping forward technology-wise in films. Obviously, went a little too far with his CGI motion capture movies, but he helped develop a lot of that technology. So it's not like those movies were for nothing. They weren't maybe the best movies, but I'm glad he's making actual movies now again. But the most I've seen Ron Howard do was like Da Vinci Code. Like, he had some CGI in there that was relatively not that great. So,
right. Well, again, it's not really his element. So,
yeah.
Well, it's not like he recreated them himself. It's not like he went to the computer and was like making.
No, I know, and some directors are in their depth with that, and some directors aren't. And that's why sometimes you get movies with pretty bad CGI.
Yeah.
It's because directors don't know how to work with it, and they should be. That's something that I have to applaud Marvel for doing, because they bring in these directors who are not big action epic movie directors,
but they seem to know how to direct without knowing what's going to be on the screen.
But they put them in, they coordinate them to work with people who know what they're doing and can step them through the process. So they're in one hand directing this character stuff that they're used to directing, and then when it comes to the action or heavy CGI stuff, they're working with professionals who know what they're doing, and who know how to work with these directors. So it's like I really applaud the fact that the Marvel is taking this right approach and casting these directors who work on these character movies or really story-driven movies, and then they put them in this fantastical universe where it's like, yeah, we still want you to do that character story stuff, but we also want to have this fantastical element that, you will still have, a say in, but, we'll put you in contact with people who can help you realize your vision properly.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, I think
those are types that, are allowed to have visions because they've had success and they're good.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of that word.
Yep. Anyway, so we have a couple more topics to hit before we wrap this up. Specifically, speaking of Michael Bay and special effects and all that stuff, Thomas, how much do you know about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie?
Everything there is to know. By that I mean nothing.
Okay, so there's a couple tidbits that I think you might find potentially interesting. Now, you and I think, are among the very small camp that actually liked Battle L.A.
That is so weird that you brought that up, because I was thinking about that when I was thinking about Battleship.
Yeah?
I was thinking about Battle L.A.
So Battle L.A., or Battle Los Angeles.
Not a terrible movie. It wasn't terrible. I don't really remember much of it.
I know you really liked it when we left the theater.
Yeah. I remember it being good. Yeah.
That's something that I've watched since the theater, and I actually still really like. Like, because that's a movie that has like a lot of special effects and everything towards the end, but it has a lot of character moments throughout. Now, I've seen it with other people who hated it, which is disappointing because I wanted them to like it. But I really like that movie. And so the director of that, Jonathan Liebesman, he went on to direct Wrath of the Titans, which I don't think did that well. But luckily, he's directing this. And so I kind of like his style. I kind of like his at least Battle of Light. That's the only thing I can really go off with him. But
and this, you mean by the Turtles movie?
Yes, he's directing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's being produced by Mr. Bay himself, and so that's kind of worrying because it seems like they could potentially be going the Transformers route because,
of course,
cast as April O'Neil is Megan Fox.
Now that I didn't know.
I figured you'd find that funny.
What is with Bay's hard-on for this girl?
Okay, well, the thing is, they had a falling out, so I was surprised that she was brought back into his circle because she called him a Nazi regarding
I'm surprised she knows how to say that word.
regarding the Transformer movies. She pretty much said, his directing styles was that akin to a Nazi, and so she was immediately let go from that franchise,
right.
Completely replaced by a different character and different girl in the third Transformers movie. And pretty much Spielberg is a producer of those Transformers movies, and him being a Jewish gentleman pretty much said, "You fire her now." Because that is completely not appropriate for her to say.
Well, it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
What the hell is she trying to say?
So she said that completely
doesn't make any sense.
Completely had a falling out with them. Somehow, I guess, got back in his good graces because she is now April O'Neil in Turtles, which is I don't know.
I can immediately think of about 163 better people I would rather see play that role. Right off the top of my head.
Yeah, so she's playing April O'Neil. Now for casting that I think you might actually like. So William Fichtner is playing Shredder.
You and your friends are dead.
So Mr.
Oh, he's playing Shredder.
Mr. Fichtner or Fichtner? Did we figure that out? Was it Fichtner that we figured out?
Fichtner.
So it is Fichtner. And I was always pronouncing it wrong. So Fichtner, he's playing Shredder, which is kind of an odd choice for Shredder. But I like him, so that'll be...
I'm sure he'll... Yeah, I mean, at the outset, it's like anything else.
I mean, Shredder's supposed to be, like...
Seems odd, but...
An Asian character, though. Like, he was...
oh, well, yeah, there is
Oroku Saki. Like, that was...
Well, what do you expect? I'm sure this film is really going to pay attention to the origins of the Ninja Turtles, and I'm sure it's going to accurately reflect the true origin of this, of how they came to be. I'm sure it'll probably be a very well-told tale that
hits all the character
will
points.
Will break all kinds of barriers for its originality, and yet it's still true to its core.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what it's going to be about.
This is a movie that throughout its production has completely outraged big fans of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because originally it was just called Ninja Turtles. They were just going to call it Ninja Turtles, which led people to ask why. And then they announced
they weren't teenagers or mutants.
Hold on, but then they announced that these turtles aren't going to be mutant turtles, they're going to be aliens.
Right.
And that completely threw people off, and we're like, what?
This movie is going to bomb so badly. I am predicting it now. This movie is going to absolutely fall on its face.
Well, okay, so the person playing Master Splinter is Danny Woodburn. Now, you probably don't know Danny Woodburn by his name, Thomas, but I'm sure if I link this picture to you here, you'll know who he is.
Yes, I need to look at him because I don't know who he is. I didn't even realize I had you up. Okay.
That is Danny Woodburn.
And he is playing who?
He's playing Splinter, the master rat guy. Again, should be of Asian descent, but played...
Is he going to be walking on stilts?
Oh, that's horrible.
No, he's a good actor. I like that guy. He's a great actor. He's a good actor.
He's been in a shit ton of movies.
He's playing who? Splinter?
He's playing Splinter.
Okay, first of all, Splinter's a rat.
Splinter is a rat. Well, I mean, all the actors playing the turtles are all doing motion capture, so I'm assuming he's doing motion capture as well.
They're not wearing suits; they're doing motion capture.
No, well, they're wearing suits. No. I'm sorry. They're wearing the performance capture suits. So, like, they're actually
not wearing
there.
Turtle suits.
Well, they're wearing turtle-shaped motion capture suits. It's not something you'll see on film, but it's to give them the weight of having a turtle shell on their back.
Well,
so like it's not that like I wouldn't say Danny Woodburn couldn't play Splinter, but it's a really random choice. It's the same thing with William Fichtner. Like it's like you're casting. Is he going to do an accent where he's just like turtles? Like I don't know what he's going to do because he's not a guy who has a particularly deep voice. Danny Woodburn kind of has a higher pitched voice. He's a dwarf actor who last I saw him was he was in Watchmen. He was actually pretty good in that. He actually played
his claim to fame was Seinfeld, though, right? He was on Seinfeld.
Yes, he was on Seinfeld.
Yes, okay.
But he's been in a bunch of movies. I've seen
a
bunch of movies. Remember that Mary-Kate and Ashley movie he was in?
No.
Do you not remember that?
Maybe. Oh yeah, was he in the Double Toil?
Yes.
Toil and Trouble.
I'm almost certain he was in that. But you and I.
That's the only movie I remember them being in.
Yeah. Well, we watched it a lot because they had it at Nana and Dave's, our grandparents' house. Yes.
On VHS.
I don't know if we specifically requested to watch that or if it was the girls,
I am sure this guy will do a fantastic job with what he's given.
Yeah, I don't.
My
I
outrage is not at him. It's at what is this guy doing? Like, okay, I don't even know where to start. We grew up on the movies.
Yes, I mean we grew up on
which were intelligent at the very least, and
definitely the first
two.
The first one specifically. The first two threw a lot out the window and made it. Well, Cowabunga,
they did their own, bastardizing of the original.
But it was still good. I mean,
but at least it was. The Turtles are for kids, okay?
Yes.
But it was a darker, for a kids movie. It was very dark.
Specifically, the first one.
The first one, yeah, and particularly in certain spots. But at least that you had that movie, so that the second movie. Okay, they're a little bit more fun and looser, but they still had the origins of the darker first movie, so it gives it a wider berth.
Yeah.
And
it has Vanilla Ice.
Right, which is just the ultimate selling point. He's the only reason you should see this movie anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, well, I'll never forget that rap. I mean, now that we're on Vanilla Ice.
Rap.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate rap song ever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, but... It's just a sign of the times. I think it's a sign of the times how desensitized we are to everything, and that we have to be prim and proper. We can't do this. If it's kids, it's got to be old, ultra goody this nonsense crap. But anyway, aside from that, the story was actually really good about how they came to be.
Yeah.
And why on earth? It's not a Turtles movie. It's not. You might as well call it, Space Aliens from Mars.
Well, I think it's still actually being called Ninja Turtles according to this promotional
That's what I mean.
picture.
They're not, but it's not. It's just a completely different thing. It's not even the same thing. So why are they? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't understand a lot of what it's almost as though they warp it because they just can. They have no other reason to do it than, well, here's a franchise nobody's doing anything.
Warp it.
Let's take it and tear it all to pieces.
Let's take it and make it marketable.
Oh, yeah. Because guess what's going to happen after this movie loses 90% of, they're going to lose millions on this movie. I can't imagine what their budget is. But whatever it is, they're never going to get it back. Unless, it's the brain dead coalition that goes to watch this crap. But it's just going to be one of those things where, in 10 years they're going to reboot it again, and maybe eventually they'll get it right. But I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to have them fighting vampires and werewolves and zombies as well.
There's nothing untouchable in terms of vampires and zombies. If Lincoln can kill vampires,
that movie's
then
horrible.
Anyone can.
That movie, I still have yet to finish that movie, but I
searched for Lincoln. I wanted to watch Lincoln after that horrible. I wanted the vision of that movie out of my head, and I was like, find Lincoln. That's a good movie. I want to watch that.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes. Because I saw it on IMDb. I saw an ad for it.
So I relinked the picture. The reason we're talking about this is because they just released
there it is.
Designs for the actual
let's get off of whatever the hell I was talking about.
Turtles.
Let's talk about this picture. If you've seen, I guess you Google imaged it. It's the Ninja Turtles thing.
You might be able to find
link it in the description. That shouldn't be that hard.
Oh, great.
Okay. But or not.
No. I can toss it in there.
Okay. Yeah, it's a picture of the four Ninja Turtles. Okay, here's the thing. Donatello has glasses on top of his
Taped up
eyes,
glasses.
What is that? The do-rag thing that they have on their eyes. So he's wearing glasses
Bandana.
over that, and then has goggles on top of his head.
Yeah, what looks like goggles.
Goggles.
Looks like Splinter Cell goggles.
Splinter Cell thing that you had said before. Okay. He's supposed to be semi-serious, while Michelangelo has nothing on him except a chain. Apparently.
Yeah.
That's holding his
It looks like a
something.
seashell like thing. Like,
Yeah.
It just
He looks more serious than anybody on this poster. And he's supposed to be the funny one.
yeah, he's supposed to.
Although
well,
Raphael looks, I guess, pretty pissed off because he's pissed off all the time. But he has sunglasses on top of his head.
yeah,
like it's a day at the
he
beach.
has the
I
cool
don't know what he's
dude
doing.
sunglasses.
And then at the bottom you have Leonardo, who looks like, yeah, I gotta be here. There has to be 4 of us, so I'm just here.
Yeah, whatever. I got some to
Whatever.
lead or whatever.
I'm just here. I just, yeah. What planet are they from? Do they have we got that deep into the story?
Turtello 4.
Captain's log. We've just arrived at Turtello 4, which
Yeah.
is the 4th planet in the Turtello system.
Yeah. Well, the only saving grace I will say is if I go see this movie and Shredder at one point goes, "Babies, they're babies."
Well, he'd have to have Tokar and Razor to be able to do that.
Well, I think they could work it in as a reference. You have the RoboCop movie coming out this coming month, where they have the "Dead or Alive, you're coming with me." So you got to throw out the quotes that people quote all the time for the reboots, I guess. Oh yeah, by the way, RoboCop's coming out. Anyway,
Yeah. There's another movie that I'll go see for the show and have again.
you know
zero
what?
interest
Okay,
in watching.
so as much shit as you want to throw towards that movie, probably, and as much as I want to throw towards that movie, because I like RoboCop.
I almost hope that it's. I'm
Hold on,
sure that
hold
it's
on.
good,
Well-
but I'm disappointed already that I'm sure it'll be good and I'll have to like it.
Yeah, I want to preface all of this because I went to Comic-Con and I attended the Hall H panel for that. So I got to see in real life with my own eyes Samuel L. Jackson. Unfortunately, Gary Oldman wasn't there, which sucked because he's in that movie
Yeah.
as well. I got to see Michael Keaton, the director and the star of the movie, Joel Kinnaman. So I got to see them up on the stage talking about the movie, and it's essentially supposed to be kind of a sales pitch anyway, because I got to see things that still haven't been released, and the movie comes out in a couple weeks. Like I got to see like exclusive, really cool sizzle reel stuff, and them talk about the movie. Although I think they kind of spoiled things a little bit, just like the way they talked about some of the stuff. I was like, I think I can piece together the plot a little bit here. But
Yeah.
I liked the director's take on it. I liked that I was actually in his presence, him talking about it. And that could be an element as to why I'm relatively excited for this movie, is because I liked the take he had on it. Just hearing them talk about it and seeing the stuff they showed, it eased my hesitancy a little bit towards the movie because I like RoboCop. They got ridiculous as they went along. RoboCop 3 is pretty ridiculous, but I still it's that nostalgia thing, especially with the Turtles as well.
This isn't, this is less of a please don't bastardize the source material because it got kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which I guess they all kind of do in some form or fashion. But, again, it's like the casting here kind of makes me like, oh, I'm going to like it.
For RoboCop?
I have a feeling I'll like it
Yeah.
just because it's got really good cast, it seems like.
Yeah.
And this one I don't mind so much because, again, this has been gone for a long time and it wasn't really done all that well to start with, from what I gather. So, okay, you want to bring that back in a new audience and kind of improve upon it and stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
You leaving?
Maybe they'll do a Dark Knight-ish thing. Maybe not that aspect of the approach, but maybe it'll be sort of like that, like it was for Batman.
Yeah. I don't know.
So maybe. I
Jordan's
don't know.
giving me really weird hand signals. 4, 5, 1, 2,
4 or 5 slices of
3.
pizza.
Or do you want to say what you're saying?
Yeah.
Jordan, come on in.
3 is all done, and the after the credits is
Uh-huh.
rough. I just didn't do the part with Mary Wither.
Okay.
Jordan, everybody.
Jordan, everybody. All right. So you're leaving?
Yeah.
All right. I'll get that tossed
Bye,
in.
listeners.
All right. There's
Bye.
the Kutra cameo.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think it'll It's one of those things you're hesitant and you don't want to like it, but you might, and who knows? It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
I'll go see it. They'll get my however money.
Speaking of which, going to see things. I'm going to be in North Carolina next month, March 19th through like the 20th.
February.
I keep saying March for some.
Right. You don't even know when you're
this is not the first time I've said March for February, so I keep doing it, and I'm not going to change it. So, February for February.
February.
I'm going to be in North Kakalaki with Thomas and my sister as well. So you and I are going to be able to go see a movie legit, and then do a review on it legit.
Yeah.
Recording.
We're going to have to figure out how we're going to do that too. I don't know. You've got a laptop. I've got 2 computers. Obviously we can make it work, but we should probably do something special since we're both there.
Yeah.
Maybe something, I don't know. Maybe we could set up a couple of cameras or something. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
We should probably talk to that before we...
Yeah, we'll have to figure out the logistics, because you and I have cameras that only record for 12 minutes at a time.
12 minutes?
Oh, I'm talking about like the DSLRs.
Yeah.
They only record for 12 minutes at a time.
Says who?
It will stop recording. Have you never recorded for long periods of time with that camera?
Okay. One time I did. Yeah. When I did the Q&A for this, it did stop, and I was wondering why. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, well, do you not remember? Okay, so when we were actually working on this on the movie, Desperate Measures, I think we could say the title. Desperate Measures. Yeah. When we were working on that movie, that was the movie that Tom and I were talking about before. I remember we were talking to Mike Penny, who was going to be the director of photography. He was talking about, because we were talking about doing time-lapse shots. And he was like, yeah, this stops recording after 12 minutes. And we were like, what? Because that was a foreign concept to me at the time. I didn't know DSLRs had a limit. But yeah, it will physically stop recording between 10 and then 12 minutes. 10 and 12 minutes.
That's why it does.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can't record for more than that, a longer period of time, without stopping and starting it back up. So that is why that did that. So we'll have to figure out like what kind of camera to use. And
I want to do like a show. I don't know if you know who Sam Rosenthal is, or Sam Not Sam, the guys on that do like serious radio interviews.
I haven't heard of them.
But they record the video of it, and then they have 2 cameras that cut back and forth and that kind of thing. I always wanted to do one of those kind of things.
Yeah, well,
but for 2 hours, I don't know. That might be a bit long.
Unless you end up getting cameras before I get down there, which I doubt you will.
We could do like the regular show, and then do like an after show where it's just me and you shoot in the shed or something.
Absolutely, yeah. We could definitely record like, yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll do something special.
We'll get it done
because we'll be together, and
we'll pull a Jellicoe, pulling it back to Star Trek.
Get it done.
Get it done. No, I don't want any excuses. Will, get it done.
Get it done, Will.
4 shifts. I want Delta shift on the bridge.
Alpha shift and Quizelta and Crevengene Wallace. Anyway.
There are 4 lights. Same episode.
That it? Wait. Was Jellicoe...
Well, Picard's away. Yes, Jellicoe was in command while Picard was getting grilled by David Warner.
Was Jellicoe not in command when... Oh, wait.
That was... No, not the Borg.
Oh, okay. Who was best of both worlds?
Riker was in command with Shelby.
Shelby, that's who it was. Okay, so I was getting Shelby and Jellicoe mixed up.
Yes.
All right.
Jellicoe's the old man. Shelby was the younger woman.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I absolutely got the confused. Anyway, Star Trek. So this is a kind of a topic that's touching back on what we were talking about last week. And okay, so this is regarding Batman and Ben Affleck again.
Uh-oh.
There was a development that I had completely forgotten about that I did not that I kind of negates one of the points I had last week. I was talking about how I was kind of worried about the whole creative team of Zack Snyder and David Goyer, because David Goyer I don't believe is as strong as a writer as the studio may think he is, or something like that. Like I was just worried about his writing. I had completely forgotten that they brought in I really wish I had his name in front of me. I'm looking at the article, but it doesn't mention it. They brought in the screenwriter of Argo to rewrite the script and do touch-ups.
Oh.
So that instantly made me feel better when I re-saw that, because I forgot about it. So that's definitely a good thing, because I'm sure, like with Affleck coming along, that happens a lot of the times. Do you remember that book that Ben Garant and Thomas Lennon wrote?
Who? Ben Grant?
Ben Garant and Thomas Lennon.
I do not.
It's the one that we had in the bathroom.
Are you talking about Chris Terrio?
No. I'm talking about those two guys I just mentioned. We used to have that book in the bathroom about writing scripts, writing a successful script, or whatever, because they were the guys who wrote Night at the Museum and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not remember this book? I had it in the bathroom, and you read it. I'm pretty sure you read it. Oh, now I got to look it up.
Well, no, I was just looking up the Argo writer. It was Chris Terrio, Tony Mendez, and Joshua Bearman.
I think it might be Chris Terrio. Anyway, I was talking about the book. Do you not remember that? The book. It is called. Oh boy.
I'll remember it.
Writing movies for fun and profit, and fun is marked out.
Oh, the $11,000 thing.
No. I remember you read the one about like the guy and Kevin Smith and all that stuff, but
that's the one. Yeah.
This is the one I'm talking about because I'm almost certain you read this. You should have read this. How we made $1 billion at the box office, and you can too.
Oh yeah, you did have that.
Yeah, did you not read any of it?
Yeah, I think I did.
So
I didn't know the guys by name. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, I was just trying to remember, like, help you remember. I do remember that $11,000 one. About
yes.
Anyway, so
I remember
that book specifically mentioned about how generally, don't be, because like they're guys who have written scripts, and then when actors get on board, they want to bring in their own writers, or they want you to rewrite it to their sensibilities. Right. So that just kind of reminded me of that when, like, Ben Affleck joins, aboard this movie, and then immediately after, another writer who he's worked with previously was brought on board to do rewrites or something like that.
Right.
So, not that was a bad thing in this case. I think that's only going to help the script be stronger, because Argo was an excellently written movie. That was a really good movie, writing-wise. It had really good dialogue, really snappy dialogue. It was serious when it needed to be, and it had levity when it needed to be. And when the levity was there, it was actually pretty funny. Like, they had some really good, humor in there for such a serious movie. So, that made me immediately feel really better when I resaw that. But anyway, so Ben Affleck specifically, specifically had an interview with Playboy recently, and he was asked about the reason why he took the role, as well as kind of commented on the whole fan reaction and everything, and he pretty much was saying like he was at first not he wasn't. He was, I guess, really hesitant about the idea, and he wasn't crazy about. He wasn't on board with the idea of him playing Batman, because he didn't see himself in the role. And then he actually met with Zack Snyder and saw the stuff he was doing, and immediately saw himself being able to do what they.
Which is why I guess they went after him. Yeah. Yeah,
which is exactly why, because he's supposed to be an older, like he said specifically, older, wiser Batman. In contrast to, the new Superman. So he was also talking about how he didn't want to, the idea of him coming on board was for them to redefine Batman in a different way than Bale and Nolan did. He doesn't want to compete with, that Batman. He just wants, they want to do their own version of the character that's older and wiser, blah, blah, blah. Also, he was, and I'm going to read this quote because I thought it was relatively funny. He's like, I understand I'm at a disadvantage with the internet. If I thought the result would be another Daredevil, I'd be out there picketing myself. Why would I make the movie if I didn't think I was going to be good and that I could be good in it? So, that.
He's a very candid guy. I like that.
He actually really is. And that's something that
him and Damon, they're the same way. They're going to tell you what they believe, and it's not sugar coated.
Yeah, like they're really straightforward, and I really like that because I've read.
You know who another one who's surprisingly like that?
Who
you wouldn't think is Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
very much. He was on Bill Maher. I think this was a couple of years ago, but it's a very nice interview.
Yeah. Well, that was something I was really surprised with about John Cena when on Howard Stern.
Oh, the Howard Stern thing.
His Howard Stern episode, he was talking about having sex with women left and right.
That was a different time, though. I mean, he would never say those things now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I was so surprised. Was because it wasn't even that he was bragging. He was just being honest about whatever Howard Stern asked him. He was absolutely honest about everything, and I was just like, Jesus, this guy has nothing to hide.
Yeah. But it surprises you when people are that forward.
When you think
straight
it's
up
like
honest
he is the face of the WWE, and then like he is this role model to children, and then you watch this thing, he's like, yeah, I had sex. I have sex with every woman who asks me. Like,
Well, at that point, he wasn't the guy that he is now. He wasn't the role model for children as big then as he is now.
Yeah.
Like he was on his way to being there, but he wasn't anywhere near there yet.
yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you've heard, this is going way off of movies now, but did you hear that CM Punk got walked away?
Oh,
Had you heard
really?
that or seen anything? Yeah, he left.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah,
He's like James's
Pretty big deal
favorite.
on-
I wonder what that's going to affect, because James is actually.
Well, I figured you might have heard it just via proxy because
yeah,
I
James.
know he was-
He's going to a couple events next month.
yeah.
But I had no idea.
I was shocked
When
when
did
I
this
saw it
happen?
last- It happened at like 5 a.m. It broke this morning.
Oh, well then that's why James is probably going to be relatively pissed. I haven't had any interaction with James today, so I'm sure I'll hear about it tomorrow. That sucks because he's
It's not really set as to why exactly. There's a lot of rumors and a lot of people saying this is what happened, but I mean neither one of them have talked yet, so that's kind of what I'm waiting on. But some of it makes some sense.
Did he have any
but
big
he's definitely gone.
big build matches coming up?
There was he was going to be facing Triple H at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Supposedly.
James.
That was the direction they were going in, and they completely rewrote Raw the Monday, like hours before it was supposed to start, because supposedly he left. Like,
oh man,
he had a meeting with Vince McMahon, and apparently after that meeting stormed off and went home and said he was leaving.
I bet James is going to be done with the WWE after this.
Well, that's a lot of people are like, because they're not pushing Daniel Bryan and they're trying to push these old guys that are coming back part-time and stuff like that, that a lot of people are starting to say maybe they're not going to watch anymore, but they're full of crap. They're still going to watch. And,
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a pretty big deal. It's I know this is not really our territory, but
No, but I mean, general interest.
whatever.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
General
WWE
interest
produces movies all the time, Thomas. I mean, I
oh
don't
yeah,
know.
we reviewed one. It was Dead Man Down. That was one of the
We didn't.
double E's movies.
Yep. So, just a couple different shorter articles that don't really have so much your interest in heart, but this is stuff I want to talk about briefly. I don't know. Did you ever see any of the Chronicles of Riddick movies or Pitch Black?
I saw Pitch Black.
Yeah, I remember
which was not bad. I remember that being decent.
Okay, so they made Pitch Black, and then they made the Chronicles of Riddick, which was a lot more of a. It was, I think, definitely a bigger budget, but they took a rated R small movie concept and turned it into they tried to expand the universe a lot more with the Chronicles of Riddick, but they also made it PG-13, which to try to market it more so towards teenagers and all that jazz. But those were movies that I was really into when I was younger. I liked both of them. I'm sure if I went back now and watched Chronicles of Riddick, I wouldn't like it as much. But but then again, I could have that whole nostalgic fuzzy lens when watching it. But those movies were never amazing. But I had seen Riddick, which was the newest one. They're losing. They're essentially losing. I made the joke multiple times. I'm going to make it again. They're losing words when it comes to this franchise because they retroactively named Pitch Black the Chronicles of Riddick Pitch Black. So
they went back and renamed it?
Well, they did that thing where it was like The Wrath of Khan was originally just called Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan or something like that, and they added the 2 to it later or something like that. So yeah, it's I think promotionally now called The Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black, The Chronicles of Riddick, and then this one's just called Riddick. So by order of elimination, the next one's just called Dick.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either Rid or Dick.
Rid or Dick. So okay, so they released so David Twohy, I believe is how you say his name, is the guy who helmed the first 2 movies. Him and Vin Diesel were really gung-ho about making another one, and they talked about it for years, and they finally ended up getting a script together and a budget together that was really essentially to make the vision that they wanted to do a much smaller and rated R movie. They had to make the budget like so low.
Yeah.
So they ended up miraculously getting to make another Riddick movie that actually had like a real theatrical launch. And surprisingly enough, it was on par with Pitch Black. Like it was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. But the thing is, like, the movie for the first 20 minutes goes really kind of like Rambo, like it's just Vin Diesel for the first 20 minutes, and there is hardly any dialogue. It's pretty much just Vin Diesel surviving on this planet.
I was gonna say, is it like actiony or is
it? It wasn't even that actiony. It was just him stranded on this alien planet, and he has to survive. He has to kind of go toe to toe with some of the dangerous animals and stuff that live there, alien animals, and it's just really interesting. Like it's interesting to see him attempt to survive because he's pretty much dead at the beginning, and he finds shelter. He learns how to deal with the local, horrible, disgusting animals that are trying to kill him constantly. And it was really interesting. But then they bring these bounty hunters to this area because he's ready to get off this planet. He activates the beacon and all these bounty hunters come. And so it's these two groups of bounty hunters, and that's when the movie gets pretty dumb. Like the dialogue between them is so stupid, and there's the leader of this one bounty hunter group is just an absolute idiot. We called him the Spanish Tommy Wiseau. Like he had some horrible lines and some pretty bad delivery.
Oh, hola, Marcos.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty bad. I don't know if he was Spanish though. I think we called him not European Tommy Wiseau because Tommy Wiseau probably is European, but yeah, he was just an incomprehensible weirdo. But the movie still overall was pretty good, and it had Dave Bautista in it. Speaking of WWE, so
the scorn of a lot of people right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he not?
He's the part timer that came back and now is main eventing WrestleMania.
Oh, is he really back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He won the Royal Rumble.
Oh, hey. Well, anyway, I did not know that. So the movie was pretty good, and apparently, news hit today. Vin Diesel announced on his Facebook, which has been, a big thing, his big marketing tool, because that's how he, started talking about Riddick and everything. Apparently, the Riddick just came out on Blu-ray and DVD, and it is number one on the charts, and it's doing really well on home video. So apparently, Universal is interested in talking to him about doing another Riddick movie, which is really great to hear, because that is like truly a really low budget sci-fi horror-ish kind of series that I would love to see keep going, because it's a pretty interesting. I love any movie franchise or television franchise where I can follow a character for more than one or two movies. Like,
yeah, well, you gotta. Some of these movies, it's like one story doesn't really do it justice.
Yeah,
so
like it's a continuing saga. Like they still haven't like really delved too far into his backstory. I mean, his plan. I'd like to see him kind of go back more so to the origins, because he plays the race he is Furian, and like their planet was destroyed, and there isn't real. I think he's one of the last left or something like that. So I like to see do more of that, because they've hinted at his past, but haven't gone full on with it. So I'm very excited to hear that they're doing another Riddick movie potentially. And he also today said that they're working on the script is getting turned in for a new XXX movie. So.
I did see that briefly, that somebody else was rumored to put, Katy Perry was the rumored subject of his whims or whatever, sidekick.
Yeah, so good with the bad. I don't know. I never really watched. I never really watched any of the.
I'm not a huge Vin Diesel guy. Like I haven't really gotten into the Fast and Furious stuff, and he's just kind of generic action guy. He's like Jason Statham. Those two are like, to me, I just don't really get into those guys.
Well, what was hilarious was as the same day at Comic-Con, they have these big movies showing off in Hall H. That's where they have the big movie panels, and I got into Hall H through somebody who worked. His mother worked at the event, and he was a fan, and so he got us into the hall. Usually, people are camping out at like 2 a.m. in order to get into that hall. So luckily, we were able to actually have a connection to get in. So that same day, they were showing off Riddick, and so I got to see Vin Diesel talk about it. And it's hilarious hearing him talk about his characters that he plays, because he really seems like a guy who gets into characters, but at the same time, the characters come off as the same person.
Yeah.
Riddick is a different character than the character he plays in Fast and Furious, but at the same time, he sounds exactly the same. Like, he doesn't sound like he...
That's Jason Statham, too. It's the same exact
thing. Oh, yeah, I'm Jason Statham. I'm in a new movie. Like, I'll
Yeah,
talk like
what was
this.
that movie he was in with the hat? Like he was wearing the everyday man hat and stuff.
The Safe
when
House.
he was like the
no,
farmer
not
or
Safe
something?
House. Homefront. That came out recently. But every single movie he plays like an ex-CIA or ex like agency ex. Oh, you know the best movie was Safe, where he played. He was a former. Well, one, he was a former ghost operative, but he was also a former boxing champion. Like he was like a former underground
WWE
wrestler.
World Champion.
He was just like a former underground wrestling guy. He was also a former ghost, and then he became a hobo for like 10 minutes in the movie. And then he came
Graduated top of his class at Harvard.
back. Yeah, it was so stupid. Like, yeah, it's like Vin Diesel. I like you in Riddick, and
Yeah, they seem like decent enough guys.
I like you in
Just,
Fantastic,
not really.
Fast and Furious, not Fantastic Four, and
The Fantastic Furious 4.
the Fantastic Furious 4. And yes, Vin Diesel seems like the nicest guy. He seems like not Hugh Jackman level, but he definitely seems like a really cool guy.
He doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yes, he would be fun to hang out with. But when he
No, the king of that mountain is not
Hugh Jackson,
Hugh Jackman. No,
who is it?
he is definitely not the king of that mountain. There's one king at the mountain of humble, doesn't take himself too seriously. And I cannot believe that it's not coming right off the top of your tongue.
Not Gary Oldman.
No, he's up there, but yeah. Think of a guy that's really humble, doesn't mind making fun of himself or his family or his wife or anybody.
Family or his wife?
Him and his wife do stuff that's kind of funny stuff here and there. That's not going to make it easier for you. But.
No. Can I get a movie he's in?
That would give it away, probably.
Well, give me an obscure movie of his.
He doesn't have very many.
We should
obscure
introduce a
movies.
trivia element to this show.
Yeah.
I love trivia.
That'll jack the comments up a bit. I know people are shouting off the top of the rooftops. I know who it is.
You've given... Okay.
I know, but he's like the most humble guy, and there's no real hint that I could give you.
Okay, well,
where
give
it
me a
wouldn't give it away.
relatively obvious movie then. Just give me a movie so I can guess it.
No, every movie I give you will give it to
Well,
you.
then you fucking give it to me without telling me his
I
name.
should just tell you who it is.
I just don't... but I don't want you to tell me who it is. I want to figure it out just by the movie.
He was in... I want to do the movie thing.
Yeah, I do too. That's what I was telling you to do.
Trying to do something that I just don't know what he would be in. That was...
Oh, no.
Okay, wait. He was in... Shit.
No, you can't even think of anything.
No, I
You're just trying to think of something relatively
he was
obscure.
in the Da Vinci Code. I'll give you that.
Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Ah.
See, that's what I mean. There's not one movie I could tell you where I couldn't give it away.
Well, you could have
Everything
gone.
he does,
You
he's the
could have
star
gone with
in, so-
Splash, or no, that would have been given.
Yeah,
away.
that would have given it away too.
You could do.
I was thinking Fletch or not Fletch. What's the movie with the? Yeah, Fletch.
He wasn't in Fletch. That was Chevy Chase.
No, that's Chevy Chase. The dog. He was in a movie with a
Turner
dog,
and
wasn't
Hooch.
he?
That would have also given
Turner
it
and
away.
Hooch.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he seems like he's the king of humble man.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. Tom Hanks. Yeah, I loved that thing I showed you. What was that? Conan, where he had
No, Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel, where he had done the stage mom thing, whatever it was called, the beauty
Yes.
pageant.
Yeah.
Toddlers with tiaras with his daughter.
Yeah,
It was
now
hilarious.
I don't know why he wasn't in movie 43 to bring this full circle.
Oh, God,
'Cause he
that
seems
would
like
be-
the perfect guy that would go in there and just.
I would have felt so bad.
Oh, I would have too. Like if I felt kind of baddish about Richard Gere because he's sort of up there, as elder statesman of the acting world.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'd have seen like Mickey Rooney or something in it, I would have turned it off.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, anyway, I think that's for the most part all of the topics. I think I did have
We're right
like
at-
other little headline things. The directors who are
we're-
direct, huh?
I called it last time, and I know we're close, so I think we're right about 2 hours. I called it right on the dot last time, and we start recording before we start the show, so it's kind of hard to tell how long we've been recording exactly.
Yeah.
But I was listening to it at 2 hours in last week, and right at 2 hours, I said it's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think I'm hopefully close, but we've hit 2 hours again.
Yeah, we should be over 2 hours at this point. Last episode was 2 hours and 10 minutes, so it should be about the same length. But just a couple.
Holy
different-
2 hours, Bat Danz.
Huh?
I said holy 2 hours, Bat Danz.
Holy
That
2
was the
hours.
number
Well,
one
that's a
comment,
good
I think.
that's a good breaking point here for
Yes.
the podcast. But okay, so
And I have to
just
use the facilities.
a couple quick little headlines that I wanted to bring up. The directors of there's a director team, Anthony and Joe Russo, they're brothers. They directed the second Captain America movie, which is yet to come out. That comes out in a few months. They are apparently returning, potentially, or they're at least in talks to direct the third Captain America movie. So apparently they did something good there. Also in Marvel news, and this just happened while we were recording. Let's see here. The two scriptwriters were hired for Thor 3, Craig Kyle and Christopher Yost. I don't know who they are. Let's see here.
I haven't seen Thor 2 yet.
Oh, it was excellent. I don't know why you haven't seen that yet.
Well, because it's not out on... I can't watch it now. It's not in theaters anymore, and it's not out on DVD or Blu-ray yet.
That's true. It should be coming out really soon, though.
I was going to say it's probably in the $1.50 theater. I should probably go see it there.
That's true. It should, but I think it's coming out on DVD really soon. So I would definitely recommend it. I mean, because you kind of liked Thor.
I like Thor.
Yeah.
I like him more in Captain America than I did in his own movie. But the second
mean
movie
the
was
Avengers?
intriguing enough. Yeah. What did I say?
Captain America.
Yeah. See, Captain America is the Avengers to me. So okay. So yeah, I liked him in the Avengers more than I liked the first Thor movie. But the second one looked good. So.
I mean, it should be called Thor and Loki, but like it's because
Yes.
I mean, Loki is highlighted just as much as Thor is, and arguably
Right.
it's generally Loki who gets the most character stuff. Like
Yes,
but
well, I mean, everybody loves him more than anybody, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of the guy.
The internet
Which
loves Tom Hiddleston.
they were going to wind him down, weren't they? At the end of this movie, this is kind of the end of his arc. But I guess why would they do that now?
Well, you'll see what happens, but
Okay, no spoilers. Yes, 'cause
he-
this movie's been out for months.
He definitely
and-
steals the show. I will say that
Yes.
he steals the show.
Well, he becomes Thor, and they switch places, and now that actor is playing Thor, right?
Yes,
That's what happens.
of course,
Yeah.
absolutely. You're actually not half wrong. No. Hi, I'm Dan. No spoilers. Anyway, so I think for the most part we're wrapped up here. This
Yes.
episode's going to be slightly shorter than the
Just a hair.
our returning episode. Expect our, like you said, 18-hour long, whatever. I can't remember what you said last week. You're like, expect a 19-hour long something or other.
What?
Yep.
Break?
Uh-huh. No, I think we joked about doing like an insanely long one since that one went so long.
Oh.
So it's like in a year, expect like a 19-hour long.
We'll do a yearly podcast, 24 hours straight.
Yeah.
Where we will try to talk about movies for 24 hours straight. That would be hilarious.
I think we could talk.
we'd both
I
be
think we could
dead.
talk Star Trek 24 hours straight.
We'll do a Star Trek themed 24-hour 2-year anniversary of the show.
Yeah, we should every once in a while just do a Star Trek themed Gidlow movie show. We should.
I would love to do
We
that,
should do
but
that
I
at
don't
some
know
point.
that. Is there an audience for that? Let us know.
I don't know. Hashtag wormholes.
Yes.
I got a few of those,
Yes.
by the way. I got a few.
That was the first message I got from after the video was posted was hashtag wormhole.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
See, they were on my side.
Yes.
They were on my side with that ridiculous. Okay, anyway, thank you for listening, guys. From Thomas and I, we will.
Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is lots of fun, and I look forward to keep doing it.
Yeah, you look forward to keep doing it. We'll
proper English for the win.
yeah, we'll talk at you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Alrighty.
Okay, let's hope this doesn't freeze like it did last time.